All right, welcome to episode 5 of On the Rocks. Marcellus Wiley, that dude. And to my right is Big Dog, DPG. Let them know who you are.
Donald Penn, man, yeah. Neighborhood partner.
I've known him since he was little. I should say young. That one was never little. All right, and we got over here, who we got?
Richie Porter, habitual line stepper.
Okay, including not even being on the mic. Can we know that? Yes, who are you?
Richie Porter, habitual line stepper.
All right, yeah. All right, who we got here?
Eugene Kang, the silent assassin.
We forced him in the beginning of the show so we could actually hear from him. God dang.
I go by just professional debater, 20-year park veteran. There we go.
Oh yeah, Park and Rec vet. All right, we got some breaking news from when we're filming this show right now. 2 new head coaches in the NFL. One in my Jacksonville Jaguars. We now have hired Liam Cohen, former old coordinator in Tampa Bay where you used to play. But we're going to start off with the big name, big dog, Pete Carroll, new head coach where you used to play as well with the Raiders. What's your thoughts on Pete Carroll being your new head coach?
I think after we fell short with the Ben Johnson sweepstakes, I felt like, you know, this was probably the next best thing. You know, somebody that's established, has been there, came in and rebuilt the program already. You know, with Seattle, I feel like he could come get this quarterback or whoever we're going to get next year, bring in some good coordinators. Pretty sure he's probably going to bring his guy in, Tom Cable, who lives in Vegas.
I thought you were going to say Russell Wilson because he's going to be available too.
I'm pretty sure he's probably going to bring in Tom Cable, one of the O-line greats to come in and help this O-line because he still lives in Vegas though. But I'm really excited about this little hire.
Let me push back on you because you started off somewhere I didn't expect you to start. You said, oh, we missed out on the Ben Johnson sweepstakes. I know he's the hot new flavor. He's the new fine girl that just checked into Westchester. And you're like, oh, she cuter than the old girl who been there, which is, I thought Pete Carroll's a Hall of Fame coach. And y'all like, Ben Johnson. So you preferred Ben Johnson over Pete Carroll from Hello?
Because I prefer Ben Johnson off of what I've seen with what he's done with this Detroit offense and what he's done with golf. I feel like with us bringing in a quarterback next year for sure, maybe getting one in the second round, not in the first.
Yeah.
That would have been a great fit for us.
Yeah.
But I am not mad with Pete Carroll because you understand Pete Carroll is the older OG, like you said, but the way he handles himself and the way he handles his players is like a young cat. And I feel like the Raiders will be able to vibe off of that. You know, he'll have Marshawn in the building a lot. He lives in Vegas. Have him back, bring his guys back. He'll be a good fit with Crosby because Carroll he brings that young vibe. He brings that young vibe.
Heck yeah. Compete.
So
Pete competes
yeah,
all the time.
So I think it's going to be a good little fit.
Okay, I love that. Let me get a NARP in here on the west side or the east side. What y'all thinking about it?
I think my first thought was I'm glad Ben Johnson's in Chicago. I'm a Chicagoan.
Oh yeah, we can tell. That's the Blackhawks, right?
This is Blackhawks.
Yeah. Can you still say that?
You're talking about the Raiders, right?
Yeah, and I thought about that too,
about
but
the Raiders
they still
right now.
wearing it.
Yeah. Can we get back to the Raiders?
They say they have permission. Now, Raiders-wise, I always wonder when you retread that far back. Is there nobody younger with a younger thought process, a younger creative mind?
Oh, you don't like old money? I love old money. That's new money figuring it out. That old money got that thing in them boring bonds and just keep on churning. So I love Pete Carroll for this position right here. And guess what? We got a special guest. Not that special because he's my homeboy, but he's a special guest. Get Bucky in here. Eugene, you didn't sign up for this anyway, so I was just throwing Eugene in there to make sure he got his intro out because it's been a minute for him. But let's hear what Bucky got to say, man. We got two new head coaches.
You don't like the old money.
You need the mic, though.
Well,
you don't like the old money. You like the new money.
I question it. I question it because the most creative thinkers are young.
Are they?
We don't need you to be creative. Bill Belichick, I don't need you to be creative. Just be the dude.
Well, Belichick's not in the league anymore.
No, but he was old. My point is, an old coach can go out there and go get it. Andy Reid, like, don't do the whole young money versus old money in the NFL.
I think you wearing that sweatshirt, because Marv Levy was in the building. I don't know if Marv Levy was way old when we were in Buffalo and he still had it. I think if anything, it becomes slow motion when you're the older guy. You've already seen it. You've done it. For Pete Carroll, rebuilding the Raiders, look, he has a couple of these things that he's already done. Think about what he did at SC. Think about what he did with Seattle. He brought Seattle from nothing to something. Not two-time Super Bowl champ, but they went to 2 Super Bowls. I think with the Raiders, it's an even easier hustle because he knows the lay of the land in terms of, you talk about competing or whatever. AP did a good job of getting him energized, but now he can pick up where AP left off and get his team up and going. I think it's a great move, and for Tom Brady to kind of co-sign and endorse it, I think it's really good.
Yeah, AP, my homeboy. So it almost feels like now he did a great job of like with the street team, like getting the marketing out there. Like, yo,
we
my album
appreciate that.
coming. My album coming. And now it's about to drop. And it's going to be Pete Carroll and them. Even though it was a short-lived opportunity for AP, he did restore some of what the silver and black is. What you feeling about this, Just Blaze?
Yeah, I mean, I think Pete Carroll was the perfect coach for them, only because I think when you have a team like that, I feel like the Raiders need structure. And I feel like when you have a older coach, they already have a system in place. He's already shown and proven at multiple levels with college and the NFL. So I feel like he comes in there, he can kind of steer that ship and get them where they need to be. Yeah. I mean, as long as he don't make no decisions like he did in the Super Bowl.
No, don't do that. Or we going to have that topic one time. I heard the details of why Marshall didn't get that ball. And I was like, dog, I can't tell the world that, but I'm going to tell the world that.
Well, that maybe brings a quarterback with him. Maybe Russ and Sierra come back to Vegas.
That's what I said.
Maybe she gets some residency in Vegas.
They think I'm joking.
And then
Please,
Russ
coming back.
But I don't want that. I don't want that.
Why don't you want Russ? We saw good Russ in Pittsburgh.
I don't want that.
Why you don't want that? Why you don't want that? You got to say more than I don't want that.
I don't want that.
7 times.
We just saw
8 times.
Gardner Minshew at 8 times. We want that.
I don't want Garner. I don't want Garner. I want us to come with somebody new, a fresh.
Sam Darnold. Yo, you want to Sam Darnold?
I don't want. I'll take Russ over Sam.
So then, who else we talking about?
We talking
I'll take
about
Russ
real
over Sam.
dudes.
But you know what? You do got a point. Now I think about it, because you bring Russ in, get a second round draft pick, get the guy from Bama maybe, and have Russ develop. But man, just Russ.
Have Russ develop. You mean
I have the young guy. Have Russ develop the young guy.
Oh, okay.
My bad. I thought you knew where I was going.
No,
with that.
I did, but
I appreciate you. I ain't say it right, but I appreciate
I'm
you
on your
clearing me
head
up.
right now because I'm not agreeing with you right now, but I respect that. Russell's been around the block, as they say, so I don't know if you call it damaged goods, used goods, but I still think after last year getting that taste of, yo, I can still do this thing, he could really go and trampoline it in Vegas.
Well, didn't Pete abandon Russ in Seattle?
No, Russ wanted to cook. And Pete had to show him a lesson. Sometimes you got to let your kids fall.
Yeah.
Remember, Russ wanted to do all of this stuff, so he said, you know what I'm going to do?
Here you
I'll
go.
let you do it. So he fell on his face in Denver.
Yep.
And it took him falling on his face. So now he'll come back to Pete like, hey, man, you know what?
Yeah.
Pops, you right.
You right.
It depends on how much.
You right, coach.
Are you sure about that, Bucky?
But
Or are you making that up? What
this is what I'm-
superstars do that?
But I feel like how much are we gonna give
on their
Russ?
own like that?
How much are we gonna give Russ?
It
We
usually
can't
happens
give Russ
in
that
their
much.
career.
We can't give Russ that much if he comes. Like, we can't give him top. We got to give him something
look,
like
I
we got to
think-
figure
I
out
think
something
Russ-
where
Russ
we
understands-
can get him a 1-2 year deal and we move on.
Russ is not going to ask for that. Russ is not
I
going
think
to
he
demand that. Russ is getting his, and his wife is getting hers. I think Russ just wants a place where he can comfortably land and restore that Hall of Fame candidacy.
That's what it is.
And I
So
feel-
that's it. That's all I
I'm
see.
thinking about it a little bit more. I could definitely understand that, and especially if we can't get the right quarterback that we want in
Brand
the draft.
names.
I
He's
really
safe.
do understand that.
Yeah.
Because where
Can't
we're
fail.
at too, I would love to get the running back from Boise State where we're at in the draft
yeah,
right now.
yeah,
and
yeah.
And that's very much of a prospect.
Yeah.
I mean,
You don't want to
very
draft a
much of
quarterback
thing.
and then hold your breath in Vegas once again and hope that he develops. I mean, anything short of Shador and Dion, which is not happening now because Pete's there, is like, all right, let's just take the thing that we know is reliable. And that's what Russ is. He wanted to cook in Seattle, and then coach was like, all right, I'm going to leave the kitchen then. Burn up the house. And you burned up the house. Then he went to Denver and was like, oh, that was a bad house. He had bad wiring. Okay, now it's in Denver, so now it ain't the wiring, it's you, how you were wired. Changed up his mental play because Tomlin will make you do that. He's like, we're not playing them type of games around here. And then I think he got himself right in the position. So let's transition.
You don't think Fields in the first couple games made Russ like, hey, I better come in here. The way Fields played them first couple games, you don't think that gave Russ?
I think Russ was ready. He got hurt right before training camp ended, and then they gave it to Fields because they was like, why not? And then let's go on borrowed time and let's see what he does. He didn't mess up. It just never was his. So it was like, oh, let's teach him a lesson. Russ, here's your lesson. Let him go out there and do his thing. Damn, he did all right. Yeah. Good, we know our future's straight. Right now, let's get the rest out of Russ and see what he got. If Russ would have fell on his face, it would have went right back to Fields. You can't go Russ, Fields, Russ. You can go Fields, Russ. All right, Fields, you got your time coming. You know that. So I think that's where it went.
I think that was a much needed motivation watching that. Like anytime you see somebody like, oh, hey, I gotta come in here and make sure my stuff don't stink when I do come back.
No, I'm not negating that. I'm just saying I think Russell's already there. Once you go from Seattle, I mean, dog, Seattle was the glove that fit. Then you go to Denver, talking about I could get any glove and make it fit. Then it didn't fit. And now you're in Pittsburgh. I'm good. I don't need nobody else to test me no more. And then that happened as well. But let's get to your other stomping ground, Tampa Bay. And Lynn Cohen. This is a story. Do you want to tell this story of, I've heard some details on it, as Joe Budden would say, the T, that is like, yo, first of all, I can't be saying T. That's a pause, right? And I know Joe a little bit if he don't remember, so you can't be saying T. Every time he say that, I'll be like, okay, I ain't mad. Well, here we go. Tell me what happened in details. He's now the coach of our Jacksonville Jaguars, right? But I want to know, in Tampa, y'all lost him as an old coordinator, and that's wild.
Yeah, well, Tampa made him the highest paid old coordinator from what I'm hearing this morning coming in, and they had that locked in. And then I guess, you know, what we were talking about before, I don't think he was okay with Trent Blakey being the GM. And they made that move yesterday or the day before, Jacksonville firing him. And then I think Lynn was like, okay, I can bring my guy in. Somebody I know, and then maybe I can really start, and he'll build the team that I want, not having to go building a team that this guy already built. So then he's like, hey, you know, it's open. I still have that job, and then today he took it, and I think Tampa's sitting back mad, like we gave you everything you needed and wanted. Why you leave us? And then from what I heard today, they said they were trying to get in contact with him, and he
played it off.
He was over there trying to.
He was avoiding that call. He acted like Ryan Clark calling him. He's like, I ain't answering that.
But if you look at it, I think it's a great move for Jacksonville with Trevor Lawrence and seeing what this guy's done for Baker Mayfield. I think it's a great move for Jacksonville.
Oh, come on, man. Duval about to be on one. If he can translate from old coordinator. I forgot. Smart guy here. Hey, a real football aficionados here.
I'm just saying this because everyone is like really excited about it, and obviously like we got the Jaguars ties.
You gonna yuck my yum?
But here's what I would say. Like, he's been back and forth. He's only really been a true offensive coordinator calling plays 1 year to Tampa. It was great, but also he inherited something that was already popping with Dave Canales because he left that launching pad to go to Carolina. So the thing you're doing now, and I don't know this to be true, but what they did is basically the sweet idea they were going to do for Ben Johnson. So now you basically gave a consolation prize all of the things that he wanted. And so can he handle all of that, meaning personnel control, I'm the head coach, I'm the play caller. I am doing a lot for someone who is inexperienced. And when we really think about it, he was in L.A., went to Kentucky, came back to L.A., then back to Kentucky, then to Tampa. I mean, it's not a model of stability when it comes to, hey, I am the next best thing that we're talking about. Jacksonville made the move. I just hope it works out because he might not necessarily.
I'm so glad I met you after I retired, after I was just chilling. It's like our real relationship because every girl that I used to like, he would have talked me out of that from hello. Like, dog, I was excited. And then he's like, no, dog, you got to know her and Bruce. I'm like, what, baby?
Come on, you just want to be real. Now, I do like it. Now, I will say this about. I didn't take it back. I just like. Oh, he's gonna bring in his own people, and I like that. No. I'm with all that, and I'm with if he brings what he learned from L.A. because I believe the Rams culture is really strong. When you see Sean McVay and what they've been able to do with or without their top guys playing, you have to give Sean McVay credit. So that part is important. I'm just saying that jump from coordinator to head coach is significant, and just because you had success as a coordinator doesn't mean that you're prepared to be the head coach because the two jobs are not related.
No, they're not related. And let me look, sidebar, I just saw Sean McVay at the Clipper game. And y'all, this ever happened to y'all when you meet somebody and you pumped to meet them and they actually reciprocate it or even take it up a notch? He was like, Marcellus, oh my God. I was like, Sean, I ain't got no more reps in me, bro.
That's my guy. That's my guy.
But, I love that dude so much.
You know, when I was in Tampa my first 2 years, he was the quality control coach.
Quality control?
You remember back then, my rookie year, my second year when I started playing, you remember back then we didn't have the iPads. He used to put the DVDs in my locker for me to watch my film. And he was so good by the first 2-3 weeks of me telling him what I like.
What you want to see.
Next thing I know, DVDs just in my locker.
Bam.
I didn't have to say nothing to him. I knew
Cookie cutter.
I knew from a start, but it's just crazy how it just happened from there to, and now I love that guy.
Dog, that dude's a guru, genius, and killing it, making the culture, everything. Love all things Sean McVay. Well, let's move on. Let's get to this AFC NFC Championship game. I'm scared to go AFC first because it's like the Chiefs. And once you go Chiefs, everybody exhausted after talking to them. So let's start in the NFC where we have this another game, a divisional game. like this is week 4, week 9, week 18. Like it's crazy that this is the matchup. No one had this on their bingo card, right? No one. Let's be real, right? No one thought this was coming, but it's here. And I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Everywhere I go, someone is touching me on the shoulder and say, hey, dog, watch that rookie. And I'm like, watch that rookie do what? And they're like, he gonna go. And what do you guys think right now, especially you, Bucky? Let's start there.
Yeah,
Commanders.
Start with Bucky, please.
Eagles. I'm saying it's supposed to be the Eagles, but this is 2025. It's a wild year already. It started off crazy. What you thinking?
Talent wins out. The Eagles are the more talented team. They got a more talented offense and defense. When you think about the star power that they have, look, they're built the right way. They built it starting up front, offensive and defensive line. Maybe the best offensive line in football. That defensive line, they got them young, hungry dudes, Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith. Those guys are getting at it. But then they take, what they say, one man's trash is another man's treasure. So they pluck Saquon Barkley, who wasn't being treated right. They bring him over. He's the best player that they have. And so now they have the centerpiece on offense where they can run the football. So it doesn't really matter what Jalen Hurts does. The only thing that can take the Eagles out of this is what I would call the same thing with Baltimore, their emotional immaturity. If they are not lined up, look, we saw A.J. Brown reading the book one week. I ain't see the book last week.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like
he finished it. He finished it. He went home and finished it. What are you mad at? I can't read. What you saying, boy in the hood? I can't read. I ain't no criminal.
So I just wonder if things don't go well early. Because remember, Jalen Hurts is nursing a knee. Early, do they start feeling the tension? Do they start bickering and belly aching and all that?
Can I push back on one thing? I heard you say it doesn't matter. Quote, it doesn't matter what Jalen Hurts does. I've never seen a football game won where it doesn't matter what your quarterback does. I know what you're saying is cliche, but it's like if he throws them picks, it matters. If he doesn't do anything, so now I can shrink the field and I got 12 in the box, not even 11. I found Coach. Coach jumped in on this. Everybody stopped and Saquon. So you got to give it to me isolated. Jalen Hurts has to meet what Mendoza level, what threshold, because he can't do 0.
They win if he just doesn't turn it over. He just doesn't have to hurt. If he doesn't hurt them, they're good. They're the more talented team. When you're the more talented team, you don't have to do all this other stuff. When you get outside the box and get outside yourself and try and do too much, this is one where they're the favorite coming in. They just need to jab and win the fight on points. They don't have to knock him out. They don't have to get out of it. Like, they just need to Mayweather this thing.
Is that an indictment on Jalen Hurts for real? Be real. Like, if somebody tell me you ain't got to do nothing, I'm like, why I got to show up? Who am I? Like, no coaches ever come to me when I was playing good.
I mean,
saying
do
that.
nothing bad to hurt himself. But Buck, are you done? Because I got a little fire back at you.
Oh, because your Commanders take?
No, I just got a little something because, you know, when I was coming up playing, this thing called momentum that you hit in the playoffs.
Oh, Uncle Mo is here.
It's just tough. 'Cause I
Momentum.
remember when I was
Ain't no moment.
2007,
Momentum.
we played the Giants in the wild card. They hit it, beat us.
They hit it.
They beat us and hit it running. See your mind that.
Abusive, man.
Hey,
No love.
but no.
Shut up. Turnover.
With a straight hand and Eli.
Turnover. Oh, football.
And that
Turnover.
momentum took them all the way to the Super Bowl. They won. Another time, Green Bay. They were lazy, barely made the playoffs towards the end. That momentum took them all the way to the playoffs. That momentum is crazy. This kid got this momentum right now. And I'm a little scared if I'm a Philly fan because they haven't been showing
I
me.
know what you are. I can't go to Vegas with you because you think, we hitting. I'm hot on this.
I'm just telling you.
Nah.
Big dog.
Every role is his own individual role.
That part.
There's no momentum when it comes to it. Everything is his own individual thing.
The way this defense is playing, that watch their defense, they gonna rattle.
With all them vagabonds and veterans, like, we
But
don't even know anybody on
Veterans
their
gonna be in the
squad.
right spot.
We don't even know anybody on their squad.
Bobby Wagner gonna be in the right spot.
A bunch of old dudes.
He gonna be in the right spot, but I got a thing called momentum, and the way Philly barely scraped through, beat the Rams, I just don't know if that momentum keeps kicking with these Commanders and Jalen. I think it might be a different story.
I feel the same way because I was agreeing with you. Of course, Philly is the more talented team, but we've seen in every sport, the more talented team has been beaten by that team that's coming in hot. And I feel like the streak Washington is on right now, and his confidence, especially winning last week, I feel like they got to watch out. And Hurts does have an injury. So
What's his injury again?
It was in his leg.
His knee still?
So,
yeah, because they were testing him at the end. He didn't want to run at all, taking them sacks, etc.
That plays into it. And then you got the rookie on the other side that's on
That
fire.
box gonna be. Ooh.
He's on fire right now.
That box gonna be small. I mean, I got a lot of jokes with it. It's going. That box.
No, that
where that box at? Like, dog, it's gonna be like Saquon gonna get the ball, and it's gonna be like, oh, really? Is that the strong safety right here? Like, and if you're telling me Jalen Hurts is not gonna be asked, not saying that he can't, but not asked to do things that stretch this field, we're gonna be in trouble about the third quarter.
If they get behind,
They have to.
If Washington starts off fast and Philly gets behind, and Jalen has to pass that ball,
So
it's
now
gonna play in
Washington
Washington's hands.
lost their starting tackle, Sam Cosmi. They don't have many weapons on outside of Scary Terry McLaurin and Zach Ertz. There's no one.
I love you said they ain't got many weapons outside. They got weapons.
You get two. You get two.
You get two.
You get two.
That's given.
But when we're in the defensive meeting and we're running down the roll call, like there are not a lot of guys that you're like, hey, this is what we're doing. This is what we got to worry about. They don't have a 1,000-yard rusher. I mean, so we're everything.
But Austin Eckler around that damn goal line, that boy play that damn
but
guitar.
everything
boy.
is the quarterback. The
They got
quarterback
momentum.
has to do everything.
They got
Bucky
momentum.
is actually right in
know
terms
he
of the
is.
traditional
He
sense
is,
of football.
he
We're
is.
going to say, like,
He
yeah,
is.
we asked too much of little dog. Jaden, that was great.
Hey, but
I got a question. I got a question for
say we got
Bucky.
momentum.
I got a question for you. So you know that whole offense, they don't have the 1,000-yard rusher. Clearly, Philly does, but they do have an injured quarterback. And we already know that their offense is going to be channeled around Saquon. So if I'm Washington, our focus is Saquon. Now, if we can stop him, what's your injured quarterback? How much are you relying on him to take you there?
That's pretty easy, right? So we just saw the Rams in Philly play the second time, right? So the first time Saquon ran for 255 yards in the regular season.
How many yards?
255.
Two and two nickels?
So
God
two. So last week, before that game, what did we hear? We've been working. We ready for it. We gonna get him. What? He ran for 200. So you don't think they put 11 in the box, knowing we're not gonna let him get it?
Single high. If you go single high,
He went 73.
Yeah, he went
Like,
you can't go single
he's
high.
seen it. He's seen it time and time again. And even if this, so we talk about Jalen, like Jalen can't move. He still can throw every now and then to AJ and Devontae. So now we got to worry about Marshawn Lattimore.
Lack of love for Mr. Hurts. Do you not high on him? I know how you talk. I like him. First of all, that's the girl. That girl, like, she has a nice personality. Yeah. She cool. She cool. Not what I wanted. Not who I was seeing. She aight. She came and spoke.
So let's be real. We're talking about the
Put
tournament.
the shoulders down first.
Let's be real.
Okay, now what you got to say?
We're talking about the tournament. So of the 4 quarterbacks in the tournament, he's last.
Okay, but why is that like a stubborn thing to say? Why are you like holding that back? Just say it.
I'm just
he
being
ain't good
real.
enough to you.
If we're in the club, everybody can't come on. Everybody can't get in the club.
Everybody ain't getting this bottle. Everybody ain't making it.
He wouldn't make it. He got away. I got Josh Allen. I got Mahomes. I got Jay Daniels. Hey, dog. Hey. I'm gonna send the boys back. I'm gonna send the limo back to get you.
You wrong for that.
He's like, I'm gonna send a pen.
I'm gonna send the pen. Sit right here. We gonna send it
Why
back.
you wear white tee? You know you can't wear no white tee, Jalen.
Yeah, he ain't getting in the club.
You know
He
you
ain't
can't
getting
wear
in the
no
club.
white tee,
Okay,
man.
so let me. I really see this game. If I had to get my Mr. Cleo on, I'm seeing this game like y'all putting a lot on Saquon. Either A, you make that adjustment, and Jalen Hurts he guts it out, and somehow through injury balls out. If not, that's going to be too much even on Saquon. Now, if Jaden just goes out there and says, it's not all on me, somehow, some way, you know how you wake up some days, they ain't think it was going to be me. My first start ever in the NFL, literally I woke up knowing I was a backup. I get on the field, we warming up, and coach come up, you know, he go up there, everybody, all right, today I need you. He never said he needed me because I never started. He was just like, all right, Wiley. This time he said, I need you. And I said, uh-oh, what's wrong? And he was like, you starting today, Bruce ain't going. And I'm up. And I was like, well, I woke up not thinking I'm up. So now I got to get up. Oh, I got manhandled. Like John something that for the Chargers, some big dude. use me and abuse me.
You know his name.
He knocked the name out of me. He knocked his name out of me. Now, like, no, he kept, John Jackson, is that his name? He kept doing this move like this. Like, he kept, like, pushing me up here, and I was like, Anyway, if you don't think you the man and you become like a teenager, not even a man, just almost, if somebody on the Commanders show up like that, Bucky, come on, man. They gonna get over them boys. They gonna get over them Eagles.
Jalen been showing that every game.
I know, they gonna get over them. That's how I see it.
Everything is Daniels oriented. You got the whole rest of the teams, and Redskins just aren't as good. As
First of all, how old are you? They are not the Redskins anymore.
Redskins, we got Doug Williams coming out. We got Doug Williams running out the tunnel. Like,
Magic just texted me, hey, tell your boy to get on brand. Get on brand. Get your boy right.
Send y'all some stuff now.
I'm gonna swag you out, Wiley. Now, you know.
I just don't think the Commanders have the experience. If they get behind, I think they're going to push. I think the whole team is going to push.
Didn't he just tell me about experience?
I was about to say, last week, y'all had the same argument.
This dude flip-flops.
I was the one that said Washington was going to win, and y'all was telling me last week, they ain't got the experience, they young, and here we are.
Yeah. And now he talking about creative, young minds are the best.
Right.
And now all of a sudden you lost that in like 8 minutes. I was just telling you, getting old dog.
Push-ups on it?
No, I ain't doing that. Because if I lose, no push-up. Let's transition to the game that everybody wants to see. Because there's a love and a love to hate dynamic going with the Kansas City Chiefs. There are commentators saying how there's a fatigue for the Chiefs. People saying the game is rigged because of the Chiefs. People tired of Patrick Mahomes. How can you get tired of greatness? But people do. It's just a lot going on. There's haters in this room. There's haters next to me. I love it. I want to hear how we see in our crystal ball Kansas City Chiefs and my Buffalo Bills. Come on, DPG. What you got?
Man, I just want to see Kansas City lose.
See?
I'm a Kansas City hater. I'm going to admit to it. I got much respect for Patrick Mahomes, Kelsey, Chris Jones. I played against them. They're awesome, but I'm a Raider. You're a Charger. You should be with me, but I'm tired of seeing them win. I'm tired of seeing them win. I want somebody to knock them off. And to be honest, I hope this is the year Josh does knock them off.
Okay, that last part got me. You can pull on my heartstrings. One, I'm a Buffalo Bill. Bill's Mafia in the house, respect. I was just there a month ago. Point being, I love when someone gets over the hump. I don't care who it is. Y'all stupid. I love when someone gets over the hump, like stuck. Oh, they did it, because I love just sticking it to the face of all the people say you couldn't. Like there becomes this hardening effect, this like concrete around, you can't do it. I'm like you said, every role is a different role. I'm going out to Kansas City this year. It ain't like last year, or it ain't like the year before, whatever it may be. I want to see what you see in this, Bucky.
Well, I'm gonna use Donald's thing, so I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna flip flop and talk about momentum, right? So we talk about 16 one-score wins in a row that Kansas City has been a part of. They just win. They know how to win. And so even in the back of your mind, when you get to the fourth quarter, you ain't going to be comfortable. It doesn't matter if Buffalo's up by 7, up by 10. You just know. We've seen this movie time and time again. The fact that I think he's 13-2 at home. They're playing in Arrowhead. You've seen what they've done. We're so comfortable seeing them in the Super Bowl. 4 times they've been in the Super Bowl the last 5 years. As it was written.
Damn! Why are you doing it? Buffalo been to 4 straight before. He going to 4 or 5 by win 4 of them things. This boy different, and you over here talking about I hate him. Hey, don't y'all switch seats? I just figured this out. The whole time I've been thinking like, this don't look right. Bucky, take the mic. You go over there.
Do I need to leave the mic? I can take the mic.
No, you keep the mic. I'll figure this shit out. Oh, switch mics. Yeah. Look at, he just put that thing down on the floor, girl. Stupid. Here we go. Y'all ready? Why you got hate for somebody who about to do that? And shout out to Patrick Mahomes for being the one that could do it.
It ain't hate for anybody in particular.
We know it ain't real and deep, but why you don't even like it?
Buck nasty.
Buck nasty. Hey.
Nah, it's because, me being a Raider fan and being a Raider, I'm just tired of seeing it. Tired of seeing Taylor Swift.
Well, do something about it.
I ain't got no more in it.
Do something about it.
I got
do something about it.
I tell you, I know how to
Next
block Chris Jones at the end, though. All these tackles keep letting him swipe his hands, and And
What you mean
go
letting
upfield.
them? They trying to block him. It ain't happening.
You don't throw your hands at Chris Jones. You throw your head and your body out.
Oh, you that guy. Oh, you the one. Okay, so like, all right.
I did it before.
I know you have, and they can.
They doing
but
this.
You got to remember, Chris Jones is a name, a household name, because no matter what you do, this is what I witnessed with Bruce Smith in practice. And all right, Bruce used to come to practice like this. This is him in practice, like in gear,
Fresh off the stair.
fresh off the stairmaster, chilling in sweats. And I'm like, I'm not gonna lie, there were some hater moments in my life because I couldn't start. And I knew he was way better than me. So that's not the conversation. But I'm like, he ain't working. He ain't tripping. And I remember this one day in practice. He had on a hat like this, sweats on, and some cleats. And coach was like, Bruce, can you give us something today? Bruce was like, you got one game a week. You want it on Wednesday or you want it on Sunday?
That's that OG talk.
Right? And we died. We're like, damn, that's a G.
That's
And then
OG
coach was
talk.
back. Coach was back. Give me something. Like, he conceded. He was like, just give me something. Bruce took off his hat, put on his helmet, lined up, head up, and when, I mean, it looked like he was jogging. He was going full speed. Dude was like, ah, he went back over here, was like this, put his hat back on, was like, see you Sunday, coach. And I'm like, sometimes you're just that good, dog.
Yeah.
These cats ain't like trying to let him go by him. He's just doing the most.
All right, you gotta watch film and stuff. You see the other guy.
You know, Raider and hater rhyme.
And you gotta switch it up though. But I understand though. I mean, Chris Jones is a good player though. I hate
Great
it when
player.
I ain't gonna lie. When he lined up at end, I hated it. Like, bro, what is your big ass doing out here? Go back in there at 310. He come out there giggling.
Yeah, he a laugher like me.
I short set him.
Yeah.
I short set him because I'm athletic. I'm not gonna let him get his.
Yeah.
Get his thing.
DP, you know you sit on this couch for a reason, right? Like Chris
Yeah, I
Jones
can't
won that
no
one.
more.
Your birth certificate or Chris Jones won.
I used to.
You pick one.
I used to,
Live with
but-
that. But I ain't when people be like, yo, I
used to.
I ain't got no more.
I used to.
If you set them quick, you go to sleep, motherfucker. Bucky, this matchup, let's get a little like bigger picture. Kansas City, as Buffalo comes in, everyone said, oh, unheralded weapons, all that, and then it turns out, no, they got enough. Josh Allen, MVP season, could be. Point being, they're familiar with each other. So in any divisional matchup, they always say, because they're so familiar, it's going to be close. If this is a close game, advantage Kansas City. Because Kansas City, like, we've been in 17, 18 of them this year. So how do you see this playing out?
So it's a matchup that Buffalo won. And at some point, you got to vanquish the book. You got to make sure that you take care of the people that's your biggest nemesis. When you look at the Buffalo Bills, they've done everything to get to this point. But do they have enough to finish? I look at their team. They are the epitome of a team. They don't have any stars. They don't have any sack artists with over 10 sacks. Like, they're able to do it collectively, not as, hey, this star is getting it. And on offense, it's the same thing. It's Josh Allen and a bunch of unheralded guys that are getting it done. The thing that you wonder, in big games, you talk about Bruce, you talk about playing in Buffalo. You can count on those guys to close it out because your stars ultimately got to finish it out. I just don't know if Buffalo has enough star power to be able to close it out against the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't see Buffalo blowing them out. If you said who could blow who out, I was like, Kansas City could figure it out finally, and it just clicks. But I was like, probably Buffalo won't blow them out. So that means it's going to be a close contest. That means we're once again in a one-possession game. If we're in a one-possession game, god dang, these dudes are too familiar with that. They just find a way because you know what their way is? When you mess up and get out of character, we capitalize. And that's what the great teams do. Like, I haven't been on a team that won it all. And it's in part because when we get into that same moment, Music City Miracle, all you got to do is kick the ball off, tackle the guy. It's a wrap. But no, this is our last play. I'm going to kick it, and I'm going to run out of my lane. I'm going to run out of discipline. I'm going to make this last play. Instead of just doing the same old that got us there. We did 59 minutes and 47 seconds, and now you're going to try and do the most? And that's what happens in those situations. So I just don't see deep down how Kansas City loses this game as much as I'm Bills Mafia.
The only thing about the Bills that I will say in the credit, they have mastered hard that Kansas City is also mastered. When you go back and you look at the numbers, they have a plus 24 in the turnover margin during the regular season. So they only had 8 turnovers all year. So think about that. Josh Allen, as the gunslinger that he is, dynamic, they only had 8 turnovers, 8 giveaways all year. They only had 14 sacks allowed all year. So they are a team that doesn't typically beat themselves. So you're right. if they stay within character, it's going to be a game for them to win at the end. But playing like that, and the way Kansas City plays, you're destined to have a close game. It's just a matter of, can Josh Allen continue to be the guy that doesn't try to do too much? They need him to put his cape on a little bit, but can he restrain himself in those moments where he's like, you know what, live to fit another down. I don't need to force this one or whatever. If they play the right way, it's going to be a fourth quarter battle. And you know the referees, you know, Pat Mahomes, they like him.
I mean, everything flows.
Like him or love him.
Everything flows where if there's a tie, it goes to KC because to the victor goes the spoils. It ain't rigged. I hate when people say that. No, what it is like, yo, if there's a questionable call, do I trust you? Do I trust him? Do I have an incentive? And the incentive is he's done this before. Not that I want him to be, it's he already is. So that's what they lose. I think fans lose it like, oh, you getting on
WrestleMania. It's WrestleMania. You want to see The Rock go down, but right before it goes off, The Rock,
hand off the mat, shoulder off the mat. And you're like, yes! Because that's what I know to believe.
Like
if the underdog does that, you'd be like, they cheating. But if the big dog does it, you're like, that's what the big dog does.
At some point, the underdog got to do it. And at some point, the underdog got to step in and take it. And like you said, it's been how many one-score games?
16 in a row.
That's unreal.
It's gonna be it's gonna come a point where it ain't gonna go in their favor. It ain't gonna go their way. It might be this time. It might be in the Super Bowl.
Okay, let's take the might out of it. Everybody, go around. Let's start with you, Buck. Score, winner. What we gonna see?
Oh, Kansas City 27-20 over the Buffalo Bills.
DPG, what you got?
I had 30-27 Buffalo.
Okay. I got 3-3. I'm tied. Damn, I hate to say. Look, I'm too real. I love you, Buffalo. I'm coming back next year. 21-18, Kansas City.
I got KC 31.
So sad.
31.
Everybody's so sad.
Listen, I'm gonna say this.
I know I'm sad.
I'm gonna say
Why
this.
you sad?
I'm gonna say this. I actually think Buffalo is gonna do the upset and win this. But so that's my heart is telling me Buffalo's gonna win it. My brain is telling me Kansas City's gonna win because of all those factors, being at home and everything.
Yeah, he's scared.
So,
he's scared.
he
want to go to the club and play the second.
No.
Like, come on.
I'm just trying to decide if I want to go with my brain or my heart.
I'm
so I'm
over
gonna go
here
with
doing
my
the same
heart.
thing, so I can't even lie. Buck, you don't want to go to Vegas with me, Buck. I'm sorry.
But you know what? I'm gonna pick Buffalo. I actually am going because my heart says Buffalo. So I'm gonna pick Buffalo, and I'm gonna go. 31-28.
All right, I know
Buffalo.
I'm never saying score again. Just tell me who's going to win. He talking about my heart, my mind, my liver. Look at that.
He said my liver.
I'm taking Kansas City. I think Mahomes and Kelsey have found their stride again. I think when they're in sync, I think they're unbeatable. I think it's going to be 34-24.
34-24. All right, let's transition to the NBA, to basketball. Let's get some of that basketball NARP love up in here. But we're going to talk about what happened. So Thomas, Terry, Marcus, bring it on. Let's get this cracking. Adam Silver, he has been on record saying that he's trying to balance the product with aesthetic appeal and, as he says, competitive tension. And I know a lot of politicians in my life, so things can sound elastic as he's trying to make them sound. So it's funny that Adam Silver comes out, right? I already wrote my notes on this because I had thoughts on load management. Went to the Clippers versus Celtics game. I was like, yo, my wife was pissed. I was like, baby, calm down, we here. She was like, why didn't nobody playing? No James Harden, no Kawhi. And she looking around and like,
no Kawhi.
I mean, chill, dog,
bad,
back. So you leave that boy alone. So I'm like, I'm already on the load management. When you in the actual arena, you invested in the game and they don't show up. But then it turned into, nah, it's bigger than that. It's just Adam Silver is like, we have a real dynamic that we're trying to balance. NFL had their own issue. Well, they were like, yo, these cats was trying to stay home and watch these games instead of go to the stadiums. So what did the NFL do? We're going to start building new stadiums, and they're going to be all luxury. Like, Wi-Fi first, you know what I'm saying? Luxury box second. Oh, the game is on too, but don't trip. Like, they made it an experience, and now you feel like going back to the stadium. I want to start with a NARP, because I know y'all basketballers, and this guy right here especially. You hoopers out there, what's wrong with this NBA, and can Adam Silver balance the aesthetics with that competitive tension?
Well, I think he's trying. I saw his presser last night, the one he did in Paris, and he did say a couple good things what the NBA's done as far as allow more physicality in the game, and we saw that last playoffs. We saw that during the midseason tournament, but there's still too many bad calls. There's still too many refs trying to be the stars of the game. There's still a lot of threes being shot. And it's just not every team. No matter the game looks the same, no matter what team is playing.
Ooh.
Everybody's shooting.
That's
threes.
an indictment. But I don't like when I hear that they're shooting too many threes, that they're not making the right calls, because there was a time where they were shooting too many like post moves or making post moves. There was a time where those bad calls were just like, yo, you almost assaulted that guy. And that, to me, it's a bad call because all it was just a free throw or 2 free throws. Like I think the 30, 40 years, the golden era, wherever you want to say, they had their issues too. And now we're living in these issues and we heighten them and we take them to another level, when before we just kind of ignored them and said, we love you, Michael Jordan. Maybe it's just a void of the great player that we all clamor around, because all these issues just sound like the same thing a different way. What you feel, T? You a basketball guy.
Yeah, I'm a hooper. I actually think like this is just the nature of the game. Like kind of like you said, back then it was too physical. Now it's too many 3-point, shots being taken. But like, if you really think about it, that's how young players are being developed now. And so like to try to like, I think in that interview, Adam Silver also said, like, I'm going to meet with the competition committee next week and talk about this. But I don't think there's really anything you can do, honestly, because you have young players that are coming up 6'7", 6'8", shooting 3-pointers. This is how they develop their game. When they get to college, they're doing the same thing, but, they're under a coach's tutelage at that point. But then they get to the league, and they're like, this is how the game is played. So, and I've been playing it that way for the past 14 years. So how am I going to change my game just to account for fans in many ways? But then I also think, like, the Olympics just passed. There were more 3-point shots in that game in that tournament than ever, and everybody loved it.
Yep.
So it's just like, is this just the nature
Same
of the
damn
game?
Tacos. Same tacos, you bet.
Is it? You stupid. You stupid. It's just the game, and I think over time it develops. It'll get more physical again if players go that route. But like to try to pigeonhole players into playing a certain way to account for fans, isn't that taking the essence of sports away?
Yeah, I see it. It's like an hourglass. Like when you're young, like my son's at AAU, I see all these youngsters. Oh, do what you want to do. Go get them one-on-one, big threes, all that, if you can. And then all of a sudden you get to college and they be like, don't do 19 passes on the perimeter. I'm like, oh. And then they get back to the league. Here we go. Now let's start again. How you change that up, bud?
Well, I think it's no different than the National Football League. A couple years ago, they were talking about the devaluation of the running back and the running game, and people weren't running the football because analytics was saying it was more efficient to throw it all over the yard. And eventually, defenses caught up, and now we're seeing the return of the running game. In the NBA, because everyone started following the model that Golden State used successfully. It's really Golden State and Mike D'Antoni in Houston. So they're launching these threes left and right. And I understood the math equation, like threes better than twos, so you want to either get layups or you're shooting threes. The problem is the personnel that you have is not Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and them other guys. And so what you have these clones who cannot recreate what Golden State did. And so I'm going to be honest with you, it's a bad product to watch. I saw Philly and the Pelicans on one time, and I'm like, man, why are you launching threes in the first quarter? You hit 1 out of 18. It's just bad to watch. And at some point, you want the coach to be like, hey, bro, why don't you get a layup? It's no different than if we were at the rec center. Why don't you go get you a layup? Get you a layup to get you going. Like,
It's crazy, too. It's crazy because when I go to my kids' games, these kids, that's where they're seeing it, and these kids are coming down, launching threes. And like you said, sometimes you don't have the right personnel. You got the center coming down, launching threes. You see everybody doing it, but that's the norm now. It's just like when I go watch these AAU and these basketball, it's just you don't see the we used to be scared when I was coming up.
Yes.
You
can't even look at it.
A whole bunch of picks, and you had to run. Now it's just
you know what
you
I
don't
blame?
have to worry about no structure like that.
I swear I blame Child Protection Services. No, for real. Peep game. So when we grew up, we were scared of our coach. Like, I was scared of my coach. Like, if I didn't run the right play, one, what he would do with me in practice, and two, what my mama would allow him to do, or what my mama would take from him. Thank you, coach. I'm going to get him. And I'm like, all this is connected. Now I coach kids, and I see these kids. They like, look, coach got this much to tell me. Then, mama, you better get him. Oh, you ain't going to get him? I'm going to get you, mama. Now, you can't tell me either. I've seen kids yell at their parents, like, or they just talking trash to the refs. So in that realm, if you're playing basketball, coach will be like, look, this is how we started off every football season when I was little. Coach was like, line up. And it's all of us, 20, 30, 40 of us, whoever sold their candy and got registration money. So we lined up. We ready to run. Coach was like, and to the fence, go. And he's like, all right, turn around, come back, go. I was fast, young. So he's like, all right, who won? And I'll be like, all right. And then he'd be like, who's the 4 fastest? And then we sit here in a little group, and he's like, all right, rest of y'all go over there. Find ways for them to get into the end zone. None of y'all getting the ball. And the whole year, they never got the ball. And they never even thought about getting the ball. They were tight ends. We never threw the ball. They were offensive linemen, smaller than me, because they were slower. You watch basketball at youth level, everybody think they got that J. And everybody ain't got that J, and that's the problem. Speaking of a basketball coach, this is our AAU basketball coach. Okay. What we ranked in the country, we were 3? 3, yeah. No, our little kids go. And this is the reason they go. Yeah. But now we got a problem at the top level. Talk to them.
Oh, yeah, 100%. When it comes to, like, the game, right, and how it's, evolved over the years, I think it depends on what age group you're talking about, right? If you got, like, 20-year-olds, I'm sure they're okay with these guys running up shooting threes, and that's the way it is. But us, watching the game growing up in the 90s, things like that, has a transition from the big man to the guard. It doesn't seem as far-fetched anymore, where you used to watch the game and see these big dudes do things that normal people just couldn't do, right? Now, every men's league is people run down shooting threes. They were doing that in the 90s because people weren't athletic, they weren't big. It takes away from that dynamic, right? And the awe of the NBA, oh my God, these guys are so big, they're so huge. Shaq is backing this guy down and he's dunking on him, right? Like, no, I know a million college guys, everybody come down and just shoot threes all day if you give them a chance to run off the screen and get open, right? So that changes the whole dynamic. Guards are a dime a dozen, right? So now the appeal is not there. Overseas, right, like in the Olympics and stuff like that, even back in the 90s, they always said, like, they're better shooters overseas. That's always been a knock on America. Like, they get to the basket, they're better shooters overseas. And now we're starting to shoot the ball more, and now we got a problem with how we shoot the ball.
We can't be happy either way, right? Yeah. Because I went to the game the other night. It was Sarr, the #1 pick from Washington. Dude, big as hell, but athletic as hell. And then you watching Mo Bamba, who was like, Mo Bamba can shoot threes. I mean, he's 7'3", I don't know what he is. He just can shoot. And the point is, remember the day we were amazed when we saw the unicorn? What's his name again? The unicorn. He came and he played for the Knicks. Porzingis. Remember when Porzingis hit, we were like, is he 7'3", shooting and with handles? And now we're like, whatever, he's doing too much of that. To me, I'm still amazed by the big dog who can move like that and shoot like that.
So I blame all you organized coaches.
I'm football. I ain't basketball.
No, because we all grew up when it was time to play pickup. And pickup, we played by ones. You couldn't take a long shoot because we're playing to 7 or we're playing to 11. And if you shoot a jumper and miss it, we got to sit down and we got to wait 5 games to go back. Yeah. We're on your head. Yeah. And so now kids don't really play pickup like that anymore. Nah. Everyone is doing everything organized or they're trainers. And so there's been a loss of learning how to play within – not with structure, but without structure, while still understanding the IQ part of the game that you have to have. So some of that, when we talk about the kids, when you go to Balboa, them dudes shooting threes the entire game.
The whole game.
They counted for 2. They counted for 2 and pick up.
Basketball has become a game of luxury over the years, right? So you said everybody's at the park. Like I said, that's faded out. Because a lot of kids, I know when you got older and like I'm not playing on the concrete for my knees, right? Now you got like 9-year-olds that don't want to play in the concrete. It's bad for my knees, right?
Hey, they're getting smarter. Yeah, like the odometer starts when you're born. It don't start when you're like 21. like that's why my son doesn't. For real, my son doesn't play tackle football. I'm like, yo, you don't need them hits, unnecessary hits. I got into the locker room in the NFL, and I'm like, yeah, where you play high school? And they tell me, and it's like, oh, I didn't play college. Antonio Gates. Oh, I didn't play football until this age. I never played tackle. Drew Brees told me I played flag, and I'm like, oh, so it's unnecessary to do that to get here? I'm 8 years old with sprained necks. I'm 9 years old with a torn hammy. I'm like, dog, I'm really at this. And smarter or harder is always a conversation with every generation. You want to work smarter, you're going to work harder.
Yeah, and with that, things are going to change, right? The way the game, if you train differently and the whole upbringing of the getting kids to a certain level changes, that's what it is. Like, you make a good point with, like, playing by 1s and 2s. Like, when I have my kids out there, when I do 3-on-3 or 5-on-5, I have to say, if you make a 2-pointer, it's worth 2. If you shoot a 3, it's only worth 1. You have to make them go. To make them do that, which is crazy. But all they do is they're on their YouTube, they're on their phones, they're watching the highlights.
Something quick.
And I was talking to Eugene about this earlier, right? Like these kids are watching highlights all day, and you got these Instagram trainers and social media trainers. They're training the kids on the highlights they see. And the highlights are highlights for a reason because they don't happen often. So 95% of the points these guys make are coming off regular catch and shoot, right? Get to the basket, layup, dunk, right? And then they want to show John Morant doing a 360 layup. Yeah. And then you got kids training that, right?
Yeah.
Or between
all
cross,
the other stuff.
Step back, side step that Kyrie's doing, right? No, Kyrie mastered the basics. He did all that stuff. When you watch his game, probably about 19% of his points, and he's one of the higher guys in the league, probably like 19% of his points come from ISO movements, right? Like him just, everybody back up, let me just make a move and get to the basket. Besides that, catch and shoot, come off the screen, pick and roll, right? And transition, things like that. And we forget that because we're so, just exposed to highlights. That's all kids see.
And so we get to see the highlights. I get
But it's also the relatability of the people that became stars. So Steph Curry made it seem like that every man could go play in the NBA star. Before that, it was always the supersized guy. It was Shaq and Dwight Howard, the big guys.
You
that
got
were
to be
dominating.
6'11".
Right. Even LeBron is like a freak of nature from athletic. Even though he comes from privilege, we were able to look at Steph and be like, oh, little Johnny, you can be like Steph because Steph is shooting. So that spawned. And then with Kyrie, it's the same thing. We have this thing because most of us are more like them when it comes to height-wise, that our kids see them and like, oh, I want to be like him. I want to be like Trey. I want to be like all these other dudes that are shooting because I can do that. That may not take the same, I would say, gifts from the heavens to be able to be an NBA player.
Yeah, 100%. That goes back to what I was saying before about everybody just with the big man game, how it changed from then to now. Like you said, you feel like you're connected. Well, if Steph can do it, why can't I do that? He's not like a freak athlete, right?
Why can't I
At the top,
he's not jumping through the
at the top and the bottom is shifted, right?
Yeah.
Right. So the little man before you had to be uber quick and only get steals. Like we ain't asking Muggsy Bogues to do much, right? Like when he dribble down, go get that ball.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And other than that, you good and try to win this dunk contest, Bud Webb. But then big man just bully that mother and get that. And now we looking at the big man like, you better be able to run this floor like everybody else and shoot that tray. And then little man, where your jumper? Like get out there. Like instead of just trying to do the steals. It's a different
I got
animal.
something too though. So we talk about the shift. Who are all the coaches in the NBA and what positions did they play? They're all guards. And so
everywhere.
what we've seen is because there's so many guards playing, the game went from being inside out to all perimeter based. If you had big men, coaching, I bet you that it would go back to being inside out. Pat Ewing didn't get it done at Georgetown, but if you think about it though, we don't have big men.
Juwan Howard, Michigan.
Yeah, I mean, so that's the thing. If you really look through all levels, most of the guys that are coaches are guards, and most of us, when we coach, we see the game through our own eyes. We don't see it through another person's eyes.
No, that's deep. And the best part about that is, it's weird like how big men can't sell shoes. They always say like Shaq.
Yeah,
Shaq can sell everything except his own shoes.
Yeah,
they
no,
say.
we don't want those.
We don't
You're
want
not
those.
gonna
They 22s, right? like I actually have a pair of Shaq shoes from college. He worked. He did a movie at Paramount, and I worked there. And they gave it to me, and I was like, damn. I just put it in my room because I was like, damn, every day, right? And they can't sell that. You can't it seems like translate the game the same. What you seeing from that?
Well, I just think that's why a player like Jokic is being embraced and like a media darling because he plays old school and he plays he has a high IQ.
Yeah.
He makes everybody better. He makes the game fun to watch from a methodical, slow kind of play. I mean, the media have
Under the rim,
but
barely above the floor.
Everybody moving, making cuts. Everybody has a purpose. The media had us writing off Westbrook because he didn't fit this modern NBA aesthetic as far as what he does. And now playing with Jokic, he just brought this man back to playing almost at all, not an all-star level, but a respectable level where you got they're a threat now in the West.
Yeah.
So I think that's if you just if you go about the game the right way, people will find you. I think.
Yeah, but see, this is the thing, and this conversation is going to be had again. You can't listen to everybody, and you can't listen to nobody if you're really trying to get it. Like, because nobody going to know how you need to do it. Like, they're going to tell you what they did and failed at and succeeded at, which ain't what I got to do. So when I was trying to make it to anything, whether it was in school, on the field, I literally would just shake my head when you talking. And I'm like, dog, you telling me something that ain't even going to ever apply to me. That's your life circumstance. You had your run. I'm going to show you my run, but my run is in here, not out there and what y'all talking about. So I think the NBA does suffer from all this media and everything out there, and for some reason, the NFL don't give a damn. They're like, I ain't listening to them fools. And then the NBA be like, so what do you guys think? Let's change the All-Stars again. Let's do this and that, et cetera. And they always getting off their square because of the public opinion.
I think that's also due to the international appeal. You know, they have to cater to a much bigger market. Not saying that the NFL doesn't.
Good point. No,
but like they are, look at the game. It's expanded to France. It's expanded to China. It's expanded to all these different countries. And so like, when you take that into account, you got to account for those markets and make sure that they feel comfortable with the game as well, and that their audience wants to watch it too. So you got to take all those things into consideration when you're deciding like what the competition is going to look like. But I think the big problem is going to be, how do you structure competition? Like at its core, like how do you tell someone, go out there and don't do this, or don't do that, or you're going to get penalized for this, or taking too many three-pointers? It's kind of hard.
Well, I hear my grandma right now saying, baby, you can't serve two gods. So, like, I'm over here saying it's good in the United States. And I say, bueno. Like, hey, dog, you just got to stay good, dog. Like, everybody else got to figure this thing out. NFL is not global. It has expanded outside our borders. Mexico, London, Brazil. They're trying themselves as well. It's just, I swear, in leadership, and I hear a lot, David Stern was different than Adam Silver in this point of he ain't trying to buzz the way he wants to go. Now, it's easy to be David Stern when you got Michael Jordan. And then you got a little bit of LeBron, and then LeBron turns into the guy. But Steph Curry's there. You didn't put your money properly in Steph Curry. If they would have bet on Steph Curry more, I'm not saying over LeBron, but more, I think that we wouldn't be in this place, because it would be so likable of a product and brand that we would be like, all right. But instead, Steph Curry had headwinds to me, and I think that's part of the reason why they're so in this position.
Yeah, but I think you're right that when you talk about the two different leagues, there's an arrogance about the NFL. It doesn't matter what you say about it, they're not changing. But it's also the way the leagues have been constructed. The NFL has always built it around the teams. The NBA has always built it around the players. And so they will tell you in the NFL, like, yeah, that's cool. When I went to Green Bay, they told you, like, yeah, everyone's won that number before you. You ain't that special. So you need to get on. You need to get in line and get on board, because the next one is coming. The NBA has always made it about the players, and so fans follow players. They don't follow their team. So if you're a LeBron fan, you went from wearing Cleveland jerseys to Miami to, let me get this old Cleveland jersey, to the Lakers or whatever. It wasn't like, hey, man, I ride or die with the Lakers. Like, some fans really rely on the team.
You're right. I know some people that roll with LeBron every team that he done went to.
Oh, yeah, I'm one.
Every team. So
I'm one. I become a fan of that team. They were like, why? I was like, why you like Cleveland?
So you like the Lakers?
Yeah, I do like the Lakers. I don't hate the Lakers. I love the Clippers. I like the Lakers.
Oh, okay. That's my first time ever hearing it. Hold on. That's crazy. Okay, I like this with a picture of Marcel and with a quote under there saying
I do. Well, in realness, like Marcus, tell him, like our guy, Jesse Buss, is one of the owners.
Yep.
So like I got
you had
my guy, Jesse.
Well,
you had to switch.
He been my homie forever. He been my homie forever. Used to be my neighbor. That's my dog. And like he a Laker.
You
like,
had to switch.
So I'm like, I ain't gonna hate. Look at my shoulders.
You over there like me. You over there like
I
me.
ain't gonna lie.
Shoulders
You have eased up on your Lakers slander since you started.
Dog, what's our team colors?
Since he started coaching.
We got Laker colors. Dog, he got the
Since he
facility.
started
straight
coaching
up
the
Lakers.
team. Since you started coaching the team, I done seen you.
You see me?
Back. I done
Yeah,
seen
I'm
you
getting
ease up.
soft in my old age. You ain't lying. I'm getting soft, dog. So what you think? Like, if we had to button this up, like, where are we and where are we going?
What worries me about the NBA and like the future of it, like obviously from a youth standpoint and global standpoint, it's bigger than it's ever been. For the NBA,
Not the ratings though.
yeah,
But I know what you're saying.
The ratings
Growing.
are you talking about like TV? Because there's so many places to
Good
watch
point,
it.
good point, good
so many
point.
places to watch it.
They're far
right?
many more games. There are more
Yes.
games on there than they've ever
Yeah.
been.
And then even sometimes, like I want to watch the Lakers game, and I go on Hulu to watch it. And it's like this is not broadcasted in your area, or you have to have this app or this thing to watch it.
Yeah.
So you got to
NFL
lose
starting to do
ratings
that
from
too.
that.
Yeah.
NFL starting to do that too. It's starting to
Yeah, and that's
kill me.
annoying. So that's killing a lot. And then I also don't know who, like once LeBron goes, who's that next like
the guy that
mega
they're chasing?
star, right?
There's
like
They're not
really-
even grooming. They're not
grooming anybody, right?
They're
Like-
trying to do Wemby. They're
But
trying to
I
make
don't
him.
think-
Okay, I smell that.
But he plays in San Antonio. Ain't nobody trying to look at the Spurs play.
And that's the thing, right? Like,
I've heard SGA. Richie said SGA.
His game is nice.
They
But
would go.
you know
They
what?
would go Morant. Put the guns down
Yeah.
before.
He started to, but it's too late. He kind of missed
Yes.
the window when he was hot. When he was hot.
What about
yeah, I think the personality.
Anthony
I
Edwards?
agree with you on that.
But Anthony
But
Edwards
he
has
he
the
too real.
personality, but yeah, he's a
too
little
real.
too. So you go back to like
Keeping the real goes wrong.
you go back to like Magic and Bird, like these guys that had in the NBA that were like carried the league globally. Then they went out, and Jordan came, took the league. Jordan left Kobe, took over the league. He's there.
No.
I was LeBron before.
I don't think. See, this is a great conversation. Let's have
Yeah,
this.
let's do it.
What, Kobe?
I don't think that Kobe
ever.
got that. They didn't give him that key. Because as soon as they were about to give it to him, all right, Jordan's
He got in
gone.
trouble. Soon as
Jordan's
Kobe
gone.
got-
He's with Shaq. So it's like you're second on your team. Be real. All right, so 01, Jordan retires, right? Then 02, 03, they win in the championships, but it's like Shaq win them MVPs, finals MVPs. But and then 04, let's go. LeBron is coming out. And so, when did Kobe get the NBA's keys?
I think LeBron's first few years, they were obviously LeBron before he got into the league, they were grooming him into that. But his first few years, it was still Kobe's league. Like I'm talking about like nationally known. If you go to China, you go to the Philippines, you go
you
any
can't
place-
ever go to China and it's not Kobe's league.
Yes, you know
Today
what I'm saying?
It's still Kobe's league.
So like Kobe's that name, but Jordan had that energy across the world as well too, right? And I think LeBron has that across the world. And what I was getting at is I don't think anybody else comes through. So I think Kobe had his time. And if you look at Kobe on a
Give me
grand,
dates. Everyone says that.
I would
I
say-
think Kobe
I
had
would
his
say-
time when he won the championship with Paul Gasol and Bynum.
yeah.
2010 is right there where LeBron is last
Well,
Cleveland,
you don't think-
last
you don't think
Cleveland,
then?
and last Cleveland
You don't think then?
going to Miami.
I don't think he ever had it.
I say
I'm
like-
real, and I'm
I
not
think
a
it skipped
hater.
over him. I think it
I
went
say
right
like
to LeBron. being
04 to like
They really went to LeBron. I'm not talking about who we or who we think. I'm talking about what they did. Like they didn't put Steph in that position. And we now look back like, yo, if you would have backed Steph, that thing would have been crazy because it would have made more sense. And like he got the chips and he got the style that everyone ran toward. That's what Jordan had. He had more than the championships. He had you saying, I don't even care that much about the NBA, but I want that style. Like that's what Steph got. Steph got these kids saying, I don't care about daddy, what you think about me playing? Wow, 50 feet.
But Kobe was doing that. The same way people
50 feet.
same way people were yelling out, Jordan in the 90s when they shoot a paper ball into a trash can, people started yelling, Kobe, right? So he had the impact on kids.
Okay,
right?
and I agree with that,
But that's
except you
like-
can't give me the dates where it didn't either coincide with LeBron or it was
Well, they were
under
in
by
a, he was in
LeBron.
a league, unfortunately, with Jordan, right? And he's in a league with LeBron. But I say, like I said,
You're
LeBron's
making my
first few
point.
years,
You're making my point.
LeBron's first few years, it was more Kobe's league than LeBron's from the jump.
I just never.
I
just
hope
never-
that's it,
I
and
never
I'll give you
viewed it.
that.
I never viewed it as Kobe's league.
I don't either.
never-
I disagree with you, but I'm hoping.
I can see why you
04
think
to
that.
0.
I can see
never-
why you
I
say
never-
that. But
yeah, I never viewed it
Who
as-
would you pick? You will say it was from the jump. LeBron's rookie
You know
year,
why?
it was
Because San
LeBron's
Antonio
league.
was winning every other year. They wouldn't win back to
wouldn't
back.
say it was
They were like every
Duncan's
2,
league. I
3
wouldn't
years.
say-
Detroit, and
Tim
then
Duncan-
San Antonio, and then you're
Tim
like,
Duncan was the face?
You say, yeah, who's
No,
the
he
face
wasn't.
then?
no,
He was
y'all
the
don't
face.
confuse team with Kobe being the face. Kobe, okay, you said Kobe's the face, but then when he win those chips as the face, 6, 7 years later, 2010, So,
got 08 got
no,
one too,
08,
right?
09? No, Celtics won that one, right?
06, 07, right? Celtics
09,
07.
010.
They went back.
So
to back.
you saying 5 years he was the face, but he
Lakers
didn't win
went
the
back to
chip. And they were bad. The Lakers were bad. Remember when Kobe was scoring 35 and they weren't winning?
Terrible.
That wasn't Kobe's league, was
Terrible.
it?
Yeah. Kobe was going
Man,
on
that's why
scoring
y'all
being
can't
Kobe,
compare him
but
to LeBron.
I'm not talking about the team.
See, we don't went from 5.
That's
We're
why
not
y'all
talking
can't-
about the Lakers
that's
We
why
winning.
went
y'all
from
can't compare him
5.
But not, I don't know if you guys talking about the Lakers winning or talking about just how worldwide Kobe was known. If you think of NBA and worldwide at that time, who were you picking to say, oh, anybody? You go to your grandma. Do you know somebody in the NBA? I know Kobe. I don't know this new guy LeBron yet. I don't know this guy.
I'll say this. I think LeBron is the corporate choice for the face of the league. But Kobe
And the
became,
streets. Don't do that to LeBron.
And the streets too.
Don't do that.
And the
I hate when
streets-
people act like
no,
LeBron
listen,
got-
and the streets too. But
Okay.
Kobe
'Cause he's the
became
GOAT.
Kobe,
GOAT.
and followed by Steph became the people's champion.
Yes.
And that's more hard.
But he became
And
the
that's-
people's champion
People's
because
champion.
he was the arch rival. He was the nemesis to LeBron. So
the corporate
everyone
brand.
who hated LeBron could jump on Steph.
Right.
Because that's when the thing came. Because that's when LeBron would have his height. Now remember, every time first take, Skip, it was always about LeBron at that point. So it was easy to point to Steph to go against LeBron. But it wasn't like Steph on
And
his
I don't
own.
even like, it's not a slight, I know you didn't mean it. But it's weird, they call LeBron the corporate brand when he the one with the single mama, never met the daddy, never went to college. And then all of a sudden, my game is so great and everyone takes it, now all of a sudden I'm corporate. But in Kobe, you know 7 languages, Euro, your daddy made it, Steph, your daddy made it. Like,
Both of them.
Both of them.
privileged.
So it's weird, like they get the corporate brand to LeBron when he the street dude who being corporate, and they don't give them the same thing. They're people champs. To me, they're both silver medalists
that's
in
what-
LeBron's era. That's how
what
I look
disconnect
at it.
was. I think was. I'm thinking people's champ for Kobe. As far as like, that makes more sense.
Yeah, that was a great
So
way
that's
of
what I was
saying
getting. Not necessarily the league putting him out there in the commercials.
So you didn't hear none of the times I said who was the face of the league. Then you go, you didn't argue me over I never said people champ. I'm messing with you.
And I'll make one small little point. It's
Yeah,
sad
yeah.
because LeBron has probably the most complete game of everybody ever in the league. Rebound, shoot, team player, like he does all that.
And he does all that with no moves.
Right.
I'm stopping.
Something that you want all your young players to embrace.
Yeah, that's what they say.
But no, they embrace Kobe. He's one of my favorite players, but he
He's
shot a whole
villainized
lot. They embrace Steph, shooting the threes. It's like the person you should have embraced as a basketball player. It was how LeBron plays.
Yeah.
And thanks to game, but
It's our fault. It's sports media's fault.
Talk.
Because it also came at the hot take era. It was the height of the hot take era when
Couldn't absorb
LeBron
it.
was doing it.
Yes.
And so certain network, certain player, certain person made LeBron the whipping boy. Skip made him the whipping boy. So we villainized LeBron
Great point.
because Skip took him down. Like that's what, because then they made it like LeBron versus Michael, and everything was about, what was the clutch factor or whatever they created.
Clutch ring counting.
Yeah.
You know what? We're going to transition out of this, but this is an interesting point to button this up. That's one of the conversations being had about this Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson situation and how they're making it racialized is like, be careful. Because what you're going to end up doing is, regardless of how great Josh is or Lamar is, you're going to jump on the side that you love to hate. And because you don't want to be called racist, you're going to say, well, I'm going to go this way. Or because you don't want to be racial, you're going to say, I'm going to go this way. And what's happening is, you're looking at Lamar deeper than it is. He's a great player, but now you're like, yo, am I on that side? And Josh, am I on that side? And we already went through this with LeBron James. They made us pick a side based on how they covered him, not exactly how he played. Now, there's nothing more divisive than this. So, Terry, you can stay. Yo, one thing, Terry, like, this is our Terry, stay, Rich, Justin, y'all can jump in on this. Y'all let me know. All right, so Charles Barkley, who I love, talks like my grandma, no filter, the way I think everyone should, but hey, we got sensitive folks out there. I hear y'all. He was talking about politicians and really the politics, and he hates both sides, he says. Both parties suck because of how divisive it is. I've never been able to wrap my head around why politics are so divisive. People always say, don't talk politics and religion. And I'm like, dog, literally if I go to a party, I really want to talk politics and religion. Like, I don't care about your favorite color. I don't care about like who you used to date. I care about like, yo, how you see this worldview and what are your deep values. And they take that off the board when they say if you're being cordial at a cocktail party. Well, I'm glad Barkley went here because we're going to go there right now. Somebody started off, looks like Bucky with those eyes. Why are politics so divisive?
They're so divisive because there's so many tags that can go along with whatever side that you're on. But before we talk about the politics, I think we have to understand how the media portrayals of politics have impacted us. We went from, like, when news was fair and balanced, as they would say, right? They would give you the news, you would be on you to determine what your opinion was based on them presenting the facts. What happened is they started covering politics like sporting events. So when you think about it, when we grew up, they were talking about Republicans and Democrats, but it was never basically like blue and red, right? Oh, you with the blue, you with the red, you with the left, you with the right. It wasn't like that. It was, oh, he's Republican, you're Democrat, but it wasn't this thing. But when we started covering politics like games, we are tribal by nature. We want to be associated with the team. And so when you go on your team, what happens? Donald Penn rocks with the Raiders, so he hates the Chiefs. So it created this thing where instead of us trying to find a middle ground to talk, it became, oh, you're over there? I hate you because you're over there. I'm over here, you hate me. So because we made it more like sports teams, we can't have real conversation because no one wants to hear what the other person is saying.
It sounds like they created gangs, red, blue.
I know.
Both sides.
And that's
it
why.
Seems like,
Go ahead. No,
it seems like, too, if you're on the other side and I don't agree with you, there's no medium there.
Right.
Either, if I can't force you to agree with my point, and that's the same thing when you go to parties and you talk to other people. If you don't agree with my point, it's going to turn to something. Hold up. We weren't trying to get it there. We're just having a friendly conversation. But that's the thing. That's why I stay out of politics talks a lot. Because it goes somewhere where I'm still learning. When I hear about politics, I'm trying to learn too.
Yeah,
I'm
great
trying
point.
to learn also, but sometimes it gets to a point where if you don't agree with me, I'm going to keep pushing the point until you agree to it. Then that's when it starts getting too much.
Now tell me if you get this, because you talk about Crips and Bloods, and this is why I always get into politics, because I couldn't avoid the Crips and Bloods growing up. And I didn't choose that gang. So I became my own gang, which was, oh, you on bang? Now we gonna bang on you to try and get you in the gang. Now, thankfully, I had my books and I had my ball to protect me and some family members that were in choice places that was like, don't do that to Wiley, right? But the point is, if you look at it when they start picking the sides and start to go there, you and I should feel familiar because they used to force us to pick, and we didn't have to pick. And then we did something that made all those gangsters salute and respect us at the end. So I'm like, you need to have that conversation about how you feel. And then respectfully listen to someone else or respectfully disagree. As soon as you respectfully disagree with me, we are in bed together in terms of talking through this. When you don't respectfully disagree with me, and I call out Richie. Last time when he said, y'all dumb.
Yeah,
immediately I'm like, look, if you say that again with conviction, we won't talk again about that. That doesn't mean that I'm scared to talk about it. It just means I'm not talking to you about it because you could go off the rails. He'll get in here and defend himself if he wants. But that's any conversation. And I don't understand in politics how they go to the dumb or you're stupid or because you disagree. I think less of you. Why is it so divisive?
So there's two things that was said, and I'm gonna try to tie the two of them together.
Okay.
One, I agree with you with they're playing politics now like a sports. It's a form of entertainment. And then you brought up, talking about Charles Barkley reminds you of how your grandmother used to talk. Yeah. Here's how I'm gonna tie them together. The pushback I'm gonna give you, I think, is you said growing up we didn't have to choose a side. I think that's actually incorrect.
No, I feel like we had to choose sides. I said
But
it
you
wasn't.
did have to choose sides.
Yeah, we had to choose sides, but I said the portrayal has made it where they pull on our emotional heartstrings because they make it so divisive in the presentation of the politics and those things.
Because what I was going to say is you think from young, like if I think about my grandmother or whoever, they sitting there watching the TV, they watching the politics all day, and your grandparents or whoever is very tied into, I'm Republican, I'm Democrat, this is what we're going to do. So it passes down to the kids, to the grandkids, because it's like this is the way things go. Now, if you've been doing that your whole life, by the time you reach your adult age, you become emotionally attached to this side, whether that's channeling from family lineage or just because you've been looking at that for so long. So I think when it comes into, just in general, we start having that politic talk. It's not, it changes from like policies and all of that. It just it starts pulling on the heartstrings. Because you ask, why does it become that?
It's just like in sports. You don't know the depth chart. Who's the damn guard? I don't know. I just like the Eagles. You know what I mean? And then
That's your team.
Democrat. Like I grew up. I'm in L.A., California. Old black women like my grandma and them. Liberal Democrat. We at the same church. Like it just. And I never even thought about the other side. And then I remember the first time it hit me when Ronald Reagan won. Then all of a sudden I was like, why are people mad at our president? I was like, I grew up thinking salute, and probably in part because the Democrats must have won. I don't know. But then that was the first time I was like, you could talk bad about the president? I was caught so off guard at like 8 years young that people were starting to have this schism.
Well, I would say what has changed over the last, it's always been, you talk back about Reagan and the Bushes and those things. They would have those things, but I would say like the rhetoric has become inflammatory since 2016, just in terms of like, we were always taught to respect the office of the president. So if we were on a team and you go to the Super Bowl, regardless of who's in the White House, you go to the White House. It was only within the last 15 to 20 years that people were like, nah, he's in there, I'm not going. It was always you respect the office of that. In fact, in scouting, we were talking about quarterbacks. We want a quarterback that can present presidential, meaning he understood how to carry himself, how to talk and do those things. The inflammatory language has made it where it's hard sometimes to have conversations because, as you talked about the example we used the other day, like dumb and stupid and all of that. So it's prevented us from having real good conversations. But if you really look at sports, and I'll take it back to like the locker room. In the locker room with 53 people, like you have a wide smattering of people who have different things. But it never impacted our ability to be a team because in that locker room, we were able to like, oh, you like that? You rock that way? You would have jokes, but then we still could go hang out and do that. It's dangerous now because people don't want to have the ability to have critical thought, critical talks, and then be able to go beyond it. And so it's just a very dangerous time because you don't have people who can respect critical thinkers. Regardless of what your opinion is, I just like people that can think critically and make your own decision as opposed to being what they used to call a jury where they just pour the facts and you're like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, but so much media and especially social media. I always say the thing about social media is you put the microphone in the back of the class. Because when you used to go to school, you heard them back there, but you didn't know what they were talking about. Or if you were locked in, you're like, I know what they doing. They talking about girls, what they wearing, and what they doing next. You know, like whatever. Same conversations. But I was locked in, teacher's apple. You know, I'm teacher's pet. And now social media, which is crazy, you can be someone who's credible, critical thinker, got degrees from every school in the world, and see somebody, it might be a bot from a farm. That don't make no sense. And literally that person up there is in with that person to the point where it gets inflammatory. And I'm not saying that that person shouldn't engage with them. They're not lesser than them. It's the fact that it changes the public discourse. Because this person ain't got nothing to lose and he gonna let you know real fast. And if you return fire, now you are off of your pedestal, your square. And I see that happening more than anything, which makes us all look and say, well, damn, from a distance, I can't tell who is who. And now we all getting caught up in that, like you said, inflammatory comments.
I think everybody is like, in today's day and age, everybody finds their own tribe, right? And then you build an algorithm. So you start off, New York Times. Then you get to then you get the Fox News. Then you get the Joe Rogan. And then you get to the back of the classroom people, and the bottom of that pyramid is way bigger than the top, which is what the Wall Street Journals are, or then the Rachel Maddows, or whatever. You know what I mean? So I think what's happened is that once you get into that algorithm and on that bottom level, there's so much down there. And it's the same opinion that you're getting, I'm not going to say brainwashed, but you're getting bombarded with the same opinion, more aggressive, less refined, and it makes you more aggressive. It makes you the
only way to stand out, the only way to get in there is to get in there with your muscle.
Right.
You don't go in there with finesse.
But that's what shapes your opinion.
Yeah.
And then you're not getting a higher level of discussing a topic where you can grow from. You get an angry responses that make you angry.
Yeah, it's crazy out there, inflammatory for real.
And another thing too is because you said social media, not social media, you said we lack critical thinking now, which I 100% agree with.
Critical thinking is in critical condition. That's
Right.
what I coined.
But
It's
think
real.
about this. It's a
Real.
simple concept, but there's layers to this. What runs the world right now? Social media.
Girls. Oh,
Well,
sorry.
I mean, that don't never
It's
change.
undefeated. It's undefeated.
That never changes. But when
Yeah,
you think
I'm
about like your TikToks, your Instagrams, your Twitters, all of that's what controls the world, controls the narrative. Do you know why all those platforms are popular? Because they're built off of followers. So
Get yours.
why
bro.
why are we lacking critical thinking?
Yeah.
Because everybody's conditioned to follow.
Hell yeah.
So you hear one narrative,
Damn, that's deep.
you hear one narrative,
I'm
and
about to cry.
people just run with it.
Dog.
Right. It takes
They in my
it takes
family,
the actual
dog.
thinking out. It's in everybody's family.
I mean, for
it takes
real.
the actual thinking out of it because on social media you see this. It don't even matter if it's true or not. Something gets put out, people see it, just run with it, and that's what.
Well, they say a lie goes around the world before the truth gets out of bed. It's like, I'm already going.
There's a lot to that, and it is one of the dangers of social media because it is unfiltered and unchecked. And as we're beginning to enter a phase where we talk about not fact checking, not holding on to like journalistic standards, you do have to kind of sift out what's real and what's imagined. And because of the bombardment, the aggressive nature of, as we talked about, the bottom of the pyramid and what people spew out, it can be overwhelming. And if you are not one, and this is why we talk about young people need to read, they need to open books and develop their ability to think and process and reason. If you're not one who really wants to engage in reading, you just take people for what they say at their word and you run with it. And that's a very scary and dangerous proposition.
That's the new world today. That's the new world. That's the new social media. If I could tell you how many people I know that live a life on social media, they don't live in real life, and people really think that and go for it. I mean, I think the new life is fake it till you make it. Like, really, that's what the world's turned into. And as a father, I'm trying to embed in my kids so much that this ain't really reality. You know, you got to go out there and actually work for it. And now I feel like I got to do that 1,000 times harder than my parents had to do for me, because I wasn't seeing all that BS out there. We weren't seeing all that. Now I feel like I got to parent a lot more harder.
Yeah,
to make sure
you
I'm
do.
raising something.
Because
now,
there are more landmines out there.
Exactly. Yeah, you know.
There's overexposure, certainly. And I tell you, the way I get my overexposure is this. Big dog. The way I get my overexposure was this. I remember I got to Columbia, and I used to have good grades in high school, and then in college, they took a step back. Let's just say that, right? And I was like, damn. You know, they would always say content, good. And then they were like, but the way you wrote it and structured, I don't know where you went to school. Like, this ain't it. And I was, you know, I'm at Ivy League, so I'm like, yeah, I get it. It ain't it. Let me know what to do. And then I realized it wasn't me. I started to look at other classmates and peers, and I was writing my stuff on this word processor, a brother. And then all my friends had Microsoft Word. And I was like, what's the difference? They're like, you don't know? It checks everything. Like, all my processor did was like, I'm a quiet typewriter. Like, that's all it was. I'm like, oh. So then I go to the bookstore years later, months later, I don't know. And I'm like, how did we get 3 books to study this week and y'all knew what to do on the book report and got an A and I'm getting like a B minus? Cause I'm like, dog, I couldn't read 3 books in a week and take the test. It's like, you don't know what Cliff Notes are? And I was like, and then they showed me the yellow book. I was like, y'all, this all you read? They was like, yeah, that's it. I was like, ah. So the point is, it's all this exposure to something that is supposed to be more efficient, that can be more effective. But now we went from typewriter, word processor, application, Cliff Notes, read the headlines. Cats don't even read the Cliff Notes now.
Cliff Notes to the Cliff Notes.
Dog, they like, yo, I got 2 lines and I tell you what I feel.
I want to put my son out, but they got these apps now.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
They got these apps. They write the whole essay for
They
you.
got Google.
They
now.
write the whole essay.
Google.
Pull up everything.
Pull up everything. You like, write me a paper on, and there's your
Exactly.
paper.
I'm
Yeah. Ain't that wild?
You know what I had to do in college?
What?
Hey, how much is it for you to write this paper?
Skip a meal.
How much I gotta give you to write this paper for me?
Dog, I'll get it, man. All right, let's transition right there. Before I get off this topic, because it is so divisive, one thing, let's go around a little lap on this one. The thoughts on politics invading sports, to sports shows, the athletes, the politics that have now really blended in with all the commentary. You trying to watch who Lamar versus Josh Allen, and next thing you know, you're having a civil rights discussion. You're like, what just happened? Somebody tell me how you feel about politics in sports, not politics around sports. It's in here.
It needs to be a part of it. Like, I think it should be a part of it because it's the real life. Like, we're people outside of being athletes and those other things. Like, it is a part of what our daily experiences are. So we should have an opinion on those things. But I would say you need to be educated on the opinions that you put out there, because no matter what we say in the sports realm, if you're an athlete, a coach, or whatever, you're a role model. So the things that you say, how you carry yourself, that matters and that impacts others. And so it is important for people that are involved in sports to be engaged in the things that are going on in their community and to have a voice for those, if they choose to speak up for the voiceless. But whatever you choose to do, make sure it's informed and that you can defend your opinion when asked about it. Just don't be, what we say, a follower. Be intelligent, be creative, be critical, and be able to support whatever it is you believe through your actions and your words.
I will say this, most athletes are not qualified to do this.
Exactly, you're definitely right.
And this is not the dumb jock conversation. This is, oh, I actually met someone with a PhD in that and they don't have a microphone or a platform and they are getting lost and discarded in a real conversation. I had this conversation, and I'm gonna say it candidly, but not the details, with Dr. Harry Edwards when Colin Kaepernick was Colin Kaepernick and the protest. And Dr. Harry Edwards gave him the inspiration and kind of like the structure to do that. His name is Dr. Harry Edwards because he's a doctor in that space. And Colin Kaepernick's a football player. And I say it to myself as well. It's like, no, be smart enough to know where you're dumb. You know what I mean? Like, know where you're like, okay, let me just hitch my wagon to something else and let them take it the rest of the way. And there's too many times where I'm watching TV now. That's why I watch it on mute so much. While I'm watching someone, I'm like, dog, do they know they ran out of bounds? Do they know that these yards don't count? Do they know that they don't sound like? And look, who am I to say that? But it's like, well, who are you to be saying it? And what happens is a kid or a young person or someone who's impressionable will watch these shows and think what they heard is gospel, what they heard is law. And I think that's what takes us off course.
Definitely.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think it's that, well, you could say most athletes, you don't feel should have that conversation. I don't think it's most athletes, I think it's most people. I think most people in general.
But I was staying in sports, but I give you,
no, I'm bringing it back to sports. I think most
doing?
people aren't really educated enough to have that conversation. And I think networks, especially if you have like your NBCs, your Fox, they already have their own agendas of which side they push. So knowing that most people are not really educated enough to have that deep level of conversation, when you're channeling or targeting athletes, I feel like sometimes they know what they're doing. It's like, I'm trying to get this.
I'm trying to confuse them and distract them.
I'm trying to stumble you.
Yes.
I'm going to go to this guy because
Yes.
I know he's on this side.
Hell yeah.
But he's not going to have nothing to back this up.
Yeah.
So I'm going to use him to play against the narrative.
Yeah.
So I think it's a conscious agenda of what's being done.
He went to Boom Pump Tech, didn't graduate, Prop 48, and it's like, so what do you think about? And it's like, what?
Nah, but
like, dog, he play ball, let him ball.
Yeah.
You're definitely right, Marcel, but it has to come into the person to know what he can and cannot talk about. I don't know if y'all notice, when we talk about politics in here, I say maybe 1 or 2 words. That's not my specialty.
I smell
That's
it.
not what I know.
I smell it.
So I sit back, I'm learning too, while I'm sitting here listening. But one thing I think that really brought the sports into the politics is if I don't know politics, but I see a video of George Floyd getting choked out, I know what I see.
Oh, okay.
I can speak on what I saw. So I feel like when those things start happening, that's when the athletes had to start speaking up because we're seeing this stuff. We might not know all the facts and all the laws, but we're seeing what's happening. We know what's right and what's wrong.
Yeah.
So we have to step up because our lawmakers and stuff weren't doing anything about it. Because I remember the time when Trump said, athletes shut up and just play football. We sat down that whole
he told the NFL. What did he tell the NFL?
Remember, I was still playing during that.
No, that wasn't shut up and dribble. I think he said, I forget what he said.
Yeah, but it was something like that.
It was in that
and I was playing
space.
during that time. And right the week he said it, we had a primetime Sunday night game against Washington. We had a whole little discussion. Even Mr. Davis came to thing Saturday night, had a big meeting. We had guys that were on Trump's side, guys that weren't, you know? At the end of the day, we're all a team. The guys that are on Trump's side said, we're gonna support you guys whatever you guys decide.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, man, it comes out, we went in that game, and Washington kicked our ass.
Trump
Next
was right.
thing you know, but this is the thing, this is how stuff happens. Weeks after, Derek Carr didn't sit down. So you guys let Derek Carr get hurt. I mean, to get hit. You guys let him get hit. No, that motherfucker, they kicked our ass that game. That's all that happened. It had nothing to do
I
with,
see it.
with
they thinking you guys were choosing.
We chose, we didn't block for Derek Carr that week.
Let's not act like that didn't happen in the NFL.
I mean, it happened, but never with me.
Story.
It would never happen with me.
No, I know.
Because if I ever know that the way I handle it, but people still bring that up. Man, I would never, if I had it right now and I could go block for Derek Carr, I would, but I ain't got it right now. But I would never let nobody intentionally hit us, and people don't know, they weren't in the meetings. Derek Carr was behind us, 1,000%. Mark Davis was too, Del Rio was too. Why would I go out there and but that's the perception they got. No, Washington came in with a good game plan and they kicked our ass. That's all that happened. You feel what I'm saying?
And this is nothing new. This is nothing new, the politics, because I mean, look, we go back to the 60s and the protests and the fist in the air, Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay, like, it's nothing new, it just feels way more people, like, remember that picture of Kareem and Ali, like Russell, 7 of them?
Russell.
Russell,
Yeah.
It used to be only 7 at the table, now it's 7 million or 70,000, like, it's just too many people.
I just think that politics today, the WWE angle of it, you shouldn't touch that. But the social issues that like Ali and Russell and them touched on, that's the lane that if you know about it, you should speak on it because you do have a platform. And Ali is one of my heroes coming up. You know what I'm saying? Like those kind of people, those are the people that we should uplift and give a voice to because they have a reach and pull on the heartstrings. People like me.
You over here, your lips shaking right now. God dang, what you all right? You oppressed? What's wrong with you? Oh, it's 2025. You got offended. Shut your shit. No, I know what you say. You know I keep these jokes coming. I don't give a damn. Like as soon as they close the casket, I'm like, all right, where the jokes at? Like let's not act like he was all good. You know? Wow.
Wow.
I'm stupid like that. No, but I keep these jokes going. I laugh at my pain. No, but I do understand what you're saying. And there is an onus on everyone who has a voice that can go exponentially across the globe compared to everybody else. Like, I've been that kid growing up, you know, spitting in the wind, saying something on Sloss and nobody heard me, including I want to make it. They're like, shut up. You know what I mean? And so now I can say something. I know I get some likes, some followers, some clicks. So it's like I do know that there's a responsibility with that. And thank you for all the compliments because Cassius Marcellus Clay is your boy. That's how I got my name. So you talking about salute to Cassius Clay, Muhammad Ali. Man, he did it for me forever. All right, let's bring in some more NARP love. Let's bring in James and bring in Richie P while we transition to Skip Bayless saying that the NFL is rigged. For the Chiefs. I hope that exhale didn't tell y'all what I feel about this.
I wish it was rigged for me to win the Super Bowl while I played.
Dog, you start. When I hear people say the NFL's rigged, I'm like, okay, tell me how. And then tell me why. Because the way that they had it before the rigging conversation certainly was working very well for the NFL. But when you hear this, what's your response?
Man, I think it's just crazy and outrageous. I feel like.
And let me add this level. He says this time is for Taylor Swift and the Chiefs to advance to the Super Bowl. More money.
I don't know. The refs can have a little impact, but I really don't think the NFL rigged as hard as I work and as much blood and sweat and tears as I put in there. I wish the NFL was rigged. That one time I gave a sack towards the end of the game, we lost the game. Where was that? Where was NFL rigged right there?
I know, huh? Rig it for me. Don't rig it against me. Rig it for me, too.
I don't think anything was rigged for me.
Is that some pasta? Rig it for me.
Things went bad for me.
I want some
things went bad for me. I wish it was rigged, but I really don't think that, man. These guys, we put in too much time.
Man, they crazy.
We put in too much blood, sweat, and
it sounds like the tanking argument where they be like, oh, y'all tanking. They're like, I ain't get that note.
I understand. I understand the when back in the day we were talking about how we played in the Pro Bowl. Pro Bowl and All-Star is totally different.
Oh, I ain't
Our
playing.
physical sport.
Yeah,
Pro Bowl, All-Star, that's just like pick up basketball. Y'all can play in there, but Pro Bowl, we ain't going out there to get hurt.
I am not going hard
I
in the
remember my
paint.
Pro Bowl thing. It was like flag football out there. I'm not trying to go out there. And I almost got rolled up on, too, in the Pro Bowl game. So that's different, but
It actually is flag football now, which
but
is hilarious.
Saying it's rigged, and I played this game too long. I feel like both of you guys could attest to that. It's no way it could be rigged. Maybe the refs might have some animosity, something making some certain calls. I could definitely attest to
They're
that.
an imperfect person.
People.
They're a human being as well. Maybe they have some likabilities. And sometimes a tie will go to that team that's victorious or the defending champs. But rigged,
So
that's too
in the
much.
whole career, all the games you ever played, nothing ever happened where you kind of like,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course. Controversial. Things went against us.
yeah, but obviously that might be one or two decisions. Never a game where you're kind of like, oh, this feels like we've already lost this or anything like that.
Hell no. Never. I knew, look,
Ain't
because
it
I know
There's
when
been
we
time
messing
where-
up.
Yeah, there's been time where calls like that is not that call. Like, what the hell were you seeing? That happened plenty of times. I'm like, we even see that still today. Like, what were you seeing? Like, you know what I'm saying? Every single hold call I got in my career, what were you seeing? No, I'm messing with you.
Not on me. No,
But I'm serious though.
There's
It's a lot of
though.
calls that I do see. I'm like, what? And then they show the replay, like,
Yeah, what you seeing?
what? Like, it's been many times.
But then we
like that.
also have benefited from calls.
Exactly.
I'm like, oh, they ain't catch that? Okay.
Exactly.
Like my boy holding it like this
Yep.
and then he catch the ball and they're like, they don't call PI? And I'm like, so rigged, it just doesn't
The
land.
first time I ever heard that was the Rams, right? The Rams Super Bowl, right? Because it was like it was always like a Hollywood story. You got SoFi, Rams, new team, and it all kind of comes together. And that's me from the outside just hearing it. That's headline.
Nah,
right?
no,
Same
don't
thing.
try to say the outside. You
No,
believe
that's
that one.
headlines.
Do
I'm
you?
not reading the cliff notes on that one. I'm just like, oh.
Do you believe that one?
Did you bet on that game?
You put some euro on that?
Oh, pounds sterling. No. I'm just saying that's the narrative, right? It's not like that's a fan narrative as well.
New stadium that they had to wait because of COVID to open and then they finally open it
Yeah,
up.
they made
And
it in LA. It's like everything's kind of just the stars aligning, right? But I don't know.
interesting. Anything else to go with that? You got one. You need like at least three to have a pattern. Like we got one. Interesting.
You know how hard it is to rig something? Thank you. We couldn't rig anything with the 10 people in this basement. You know what I mean? So when you say you got a whole crew of referees and rigging a game, and nobody has heard of this before, and it's not revealed anywhere down the line. Come on now, that doesn't even make sense. Skip Bayless is mad that he's not the most famous person in his own family, so he's just talking stuff.
What is this? His brother or
His brother
something?
Rick is a huge restaurateur. Frontera Grills, all those products and Mexican food that's delicious, and he's a nice dude. You know what I mean? He's the opposite of Skip.
I've heard.
He's the opposite
That's
of
good
Skip.
to know.
But we couldn't rig anything between the five of us.
No, you can't rig it because it takes you to be in sync. It takes the orchestra of it, and to orchestrate that. What rigged is to people, and I'm not gonna act like this is not something that ever crossed my mind. What rigged is competition committee. You're putting a point of emphasis out there. Before the game, they make that point of emphasis known to those referees in that game. The referees don't call everything they see. They do not call every infraction. They call based on points of emphasis. So if we call a lot of holding, we may be impairing your offensive line. If we call a lot of offsides, we may be comparing your defensive line. Maybe that's your strength. Maybe that's their strength. Oh, now we have played to their strength, which has allowed them a little easier path to get somewhere. So I think what they're seeing is the chain of command between the intel of the league, competition committee, referees, and enforcing, because they won't call everything. The game will be 9 hours long if they call every single infraction they see. And I think people get mad when they get selective in their infractions called.
But it reminds me of like the NBA used to be like that. We would feel like certain players would get certain calls. Jordan would have the Jordan rules where he would get it. They would have the continuation. They would lead the and ones and those things. I think ultimately when we look at the games, they all even out. Like the good calls, the bad calls, they even out. But we are so emotionally invested in some of our teams that we watch the game with loving eyes. And sometimes those loving eyes can never see what is really unfolding.
Dog, the loving eyes, who ain't been on that date? Like, my first dates, I was like, God, look at her. And I'm sitting down, I'm like, damn, them Guess jeans fresh. Like, you just like talking to her. And then she'd be like, yeah, I don't like to cook. I don't like to hang at home much. I like to be out. I love the streets. I used to date your boy. And I'm like, damn, them jeans fresh, girl. I ain't heard a word. Then you wake up 6 months later, like, man, she don't like nothing I like. And then you were like, them loving eyes that get you sucked in, seduced. It's real. So.
I was just saying, what's his take? His take is that the NFL are rigging it for Taylor Swift. You said Taylor Swift,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So why is that? That's just because it's not like you need extra eyeballs on the Super Bowl.
Well,
right?
first of all, don't ever tell a rich person they don't need more money. And the NFL's like they don't mind more money, but will they go to those extents to get that much more money? And I mean, she'll move the needle, of course, but like for us, let's FBI release, like to leak some tapes and footage of us trying to rig a playoff game, let alone Super Bowl. Like, I can't imagine Roger Goodell even has the bandwidth, let alone the concern.
He got the money to do it.
Well, yeah, but the money, to make more money.
I don't believe it though, but.
Yeah, to make more money, you keep doing more of what you're doing, but look, power corrupts, and absolute power absolutely corrupts. We'll see.
Brady found a little loophole.
Brady found a few loopholes if you really want to. All them gates he done hopped over. God dang, Brady got them gates. When they had that, no, not Spygate, not Deflategate. What was the first one? Tuck Rule. They ain't even call that a gate. They were like, that's the first one. The Tuck Gate. Man, they took 30 minutes to make that call. In real time, we were like, when they gonna make this call? We know that's a fumble. That's a fumble. Tuck Rule. And now, quarterback could be getting sacked. Matthew Stafford was getting sacked on one play. And he was like this.
When he did that little.
And they were like, that's a pass. I said, ah. So I can see when the rig conversation comes because you just don't like how they're doing the rules.
Right, and that's why anytime somebody's caught point shaving or anything it's usually just one person. Mm-hmm. You know, they've infiltrated one person.
They got you.
Tim Donaghy, or that one guy who got kicked out, Michael Porter Jr.'s brother. Right. You know, it's one bad actor. It's not a whole group of people.
Yeah.
I just don't believe that. I
agree with you. Man, that's a great transition to our next conversation, which is gambling in sports. And they did catch somebody. They caught Jonte Porter. Y'all know who he is. They got evidence of him texting bettors during Raptor games. And I'm not the gambling type. I used to gamble, had some issues out the country, let's just say. And where I was like, I'm putting too much down with money that I shouldn't be spending around people I don't know. And that whipped me into stop gambling shape. I'll tell you that story. But do y'all bet on games? Why or why not having skin in the game? And do we really have a problem we just haven't fully unveiled and discovered in betting on sports games?
I can't bet on games because I'm an employee of the NFL.
Okay.
So we have to sign off on that. We have to take training and those things. And when we talk about not betting, like even minor things such as playing in a fantasy football league, you can't play in a league that has a payout of more than $250 or those things. So I don't participate. But in thinking about betting, I believe young people and young adults who are engaged in this have kind of been seduced into this from their fascination with fantasy sports. When we think about fantasy sports and how it was 10 years, 15 years ago, to now with our phones and apps, I think they've made betting so easy and convenient that it's easy to fall into the trap of doing it. So when you look at those things, DraftKings and FanDuel and all these other things where you can day bet, it is very much like fantasy. And
you're saying from a player's perspective?
From a consumer perspective.
Oh, yeah, it's easy.
It's so easy to get into it. And I think for players who, before they get into the pros, they're college students. And they may be student athletes, but they own
it already.
All their classmates and everybody's doing it. So it's no different than video gaming and everything else. So this is a learned behavior. They have to unlearn. Because when we think about the guys that have been popped, Jameson Williams and those guys, betting in the facility, not knowing that, I can't, it's on my phone. And I'm not betting on football, I'm betting on basketball. Why can't I do it? It's ignorance in terms of like just not knowing what is going on and what you can do. But yeah, it's really easy to fall into that trap because it's so convenient.
Yeah,
to be
because
able to
you started something, like imagine you're in high school and you just like, oh, I got 5 on that and 5 on this, and then you get to college, and I don't even know if you can do it in college or not, but you still got 5 on it, and then in pros, they're like, no more, and you're like, this harmless little thing. I swear that relates to me, this is all off. Michael Vick and that whole subculture of the dog fighting. And look, I'm gonna keep it real on this show.
100%.
Dog, in LA, Cass used to always tell me, come over here and get these pits, we got this. I'm like, I didn't, chickens and cockfight. I was like, I didn't do it because I'd rather be at the club. But it was happening, and then next thing you know, you become an adult professional, and you just like, this is what I've been doing.
Something that you've grown up doing. And it's one of those things that like was very taboo when Michael Vick was coming through it. But if you grew up in the South and if you grew up in rural areas, like that was very much a part of like the culture. And if you think about neighborhoods and the whole glorification of pits and Rottweilers, that was part of the reason why you had the baddest dog on the block. Yeah. You come through here, my dog is gonna tear your dog up. My dog, that was part of it, you know? And so there is this thing where we have to sometimes unlearn behaviors that are so deeply embedded.
I give you another one. Bucky, what about Adrian Peterson when he got in trouble with spanking the kid? And look, these are not to absolve them of the guilt or the issues they did. I'm talking about we needed to have a conversation of how do you even get there? You know, like
something that was very natural, that he probably grew up in a house where the grandma said, you messed up, you need to go outside and pick your switch.
Yes.
And they're like, what? Yes. And don't get the leafy one.
Because I'll go out and get it myself.
Don't make me have to go
make me go get it.
Well,
also,
I love that, man. Learn behaviors.
Also, there is a fallacy of privacy with your devices and the internet and things like that. You know, Porter probably never thought somebody would be able to go back or even have the wherewithal to go and look at his little stuff, no matter what. You know what I mean? But anything on your cellular device can go public at any time. There's no such thing as a secret out there.
But you know what the bad thing is too, with it being on these apps and on the cellular thing, being around these high school kids, it's so many high school kids that have these apps on there because they're not doing any background checks. You have to press a button to say you're 18 or over. These kids aren't 18 and over, so these kids are betting on these games just like the adults are, you know? So it's getting bad because it's trickling down to these high school kids, and they're putting their little money that they're getting on these high school games. I mean, on these pro games. You feel me?
I mean, look, I think it's one of those things that, like, as we're getting used to a new norm when it comes to like betting and fantasy and all of these things, is whether it's education or whatever, I just think the lines are so blurry. And when we think about colleges and just the money that is exchanged, it's a completely new era. And I'm actually surprised that there aren't more incidents where we're seeing things either at the collegiate level or at the pro level. The fact that the guy for the Raptors is the only one that we've kind of heard about, you have to think that there are guys who Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley lost a year in the league because of, I think they said like a $1,500 bet on like a DraftKings or a daily thing where he's like, what, whatever. It is really hard to eliminate some of those things that have been a big part of who you are and what you've been.
Well, especially DraftKings and FanDuel started out as fantasy sites. You know what I mean? They started out with fantasy sites. So people are still thinking of them as this is okay, just like playing fantasy is okay. But they're full-fledged betting sites now. You know what I mean? They've got the real chips. They're getting the big bag from the real money, and because bettors don't win. You know what I mean? You don't hear about the losers. You hear about the winners. and bettors don't win across the board. Otherwise, there'd be no Vegas. There'd be no FanDuel. There'd be no DraftKings or BetMGM or whatever.
And with this new prize picks, it's so easy now. It's either more or less. Like that little thing, I don't gamble a lot, but that little prize pick thing had me for a chokehold for a minute. I had to back up.
Oh, you're on prize picks
for a minute doing basketball because I had a little bit of success at the beginning. So
they got you.
That's where they get you.
Hey, give prize picks some love. They giving me some love.
I had to put that prize picks app
Prize
down.
picks too easy for me.
But that's why
I'm like, damn, I love this thing. That thing
That's why I said I caught myself in basketball, going to see their last 4 game stats. Okay. Let me go more with this one. I started putting in research. That's how bad it got with me on Prize Peak.
And you hear the name. The name is so non-hurtful. It sounds like you're playing bingo. Prize Picks.
Prize Picks.
Come on now. You're
Yeah.
betting your hard-earned money on there.
No, I
But it's
get
crazy
it.
that these high school kids are doing it too. I know so many high school kids that they gamble on these little apps.
Yeah, and that's
there's no
why I think the
background
learned
check.
behavior argument is so profound, because we're almost leading them to the water, getting them in the water, and then telling themselves to dry themselves off that fast. And it's like, dog, I've been swimming in this. Like, this is who I am, and this is what has made me be in this experience where now all of a sudden we have an issue. And that's a good transition. I love this next topic. This was kind of mind-blowing for me when I saw it. We got my man Jaden Daniels out here balling out of control, but more than that, what we have is a guy who has been public with how he deals with pressure. And he says, I deal with pressure, well, I put it and juxtapose it to my experiences. And one of my experiences is I lost both of my grandparents in a short span. And I remember how hard that was. And that makes me say, this ain't nothing to me. NFC Championship game, NFC Divisional game, whatever. And that triggered with me because I feel the same way. Like cats, when things happen to me, I always go back to the moment, not when my mother died, when I had to close the casket on my mother. And I'm like, so when cats come at me on any level, anything, I just be like, dog, I go to that spot. And I'm like, dog, this ain't that hard. This ain't that serious. That's why I laugh at so much stuff. And I giggle. I'm like, this ain't nothing. Y'all don't understand. So I see Jaden Daniels having that mental makeup. But that ain't the only thing that can make you stand out as a great player in any league. It's just because you're mentally tough or got perspective. What's your secret sauce? What's your special sauce in preparation? This dude does virtual reality. Puts on the headset, as he says. It shows him the stadium he's playing in next. Gives him all of the details, all the way to the fans. It gives them the plays. It gives them the defenses. He has 7 seconds, he said, to react and respond. Quick, all of the elements. Gives them an opportunity to get so many more reps and mental reps, not physical reps. That's secret sauce, man. So one, I want y'all to just tell me y'all reaction when you heard this or think about this. And two, what is some of your secret sauces as we go around?
Okay, so I knew about this going all the way back to his days at LSU. The guy who invented the virtual reality thing that he uses is a guy named RICHIE. He is he used to be an athletic trainer for LSU for a long time, but if you play baseball, if you had people to play baseball, you ever heard of RICHIE bats? It's the same guy that created bats. So he is an innovator. He's that. And so what they did when Jaden Daniels was at LSU, because remember, he was at Arizona State first. He went to LSU. The player that is at LSU was much different than the player that was at Arizona State. Part of the reason they attributed his his sudden development is because they were able to use virtual reality his last year when he won the Heisman. And what they did is they were able to recreate all the stadiums that they played. And because he was a fifth-year player, he didn't have any classes. So he spent all of his time doing virtual reality stuff. And they would say that you can run 250 plays. And so if you know anything about the mind, they say that your mind cannot distinguish between a mental rep and a physical rep. So if you think about him dedicating that much time to VR, it allowed him to play that much more. And he said this when he was getting drafted. Anyone who takes me needs to invest in VR. There's an article on that you can find on Twitter that I have on my phone somewhere, Dyke. And so the Commanders had to go all in on this because he believes in it that much. And when you look at him play, you think about the number of starts that he had in college, 54, plus his commitment to VR. It's no wonder why the game looks like slow motion. From a personal thing, I never did virtual reality, but I had a sports psychologist when I was in college and in the pros who taught me visualization. And visualization would be the same thing. He would slowly put us to sleep, and then he would just talk about, can you see yourself? See yourself making the plays that you want to make. And when it doesn't go, see it again. So he is just taking that on 10.
Dang.
Every team is now going to be invested in these things like Oculus and stuff.
Can I hit right? But man, I'm so happy because I had a sports
psychologist,
Dr. Gervais, and
Oh,
You
Michael
know,
Gervais.
Michael Gervais.
Yeah.
Yep, Dr. Gervais, and he's great. And I did it when I was holding out, and you know that visualization thing, it helps so much. Like on the bus ride, I put on the way to the games, I'll put on slow jams
Yeah.
to mellow me out, and I'll sit there with my eyes closed.
Can I do it right now? You know me, I'm a king joke. Riding in my DNX with my Nita Becker in the tape deck.
I gave him a sack right there. I gave him a sack right there. We gotta do something slower. No, but serious, like that visualization stuff really helps. And me coaching these high school kids, my son, I tell him, I said, visualize the game. Visualize yourself doing positive stuff. Visualize yourself doing those blocks. If you, because sometimes, man, I ain't gonna lie, sometimes I'll be going to get somebody good. My first 5 plays be good, and the 6th one be like, get that shit out my head. Like, you know, I have to rethink it. Like, all right, now have them do the same thing. Yeah. But have me winning this time. Yeah. Because I would visualize, I'd be like, I'm going against mine. Oh, that spin worked that time. Nope. All right, let me revisit. Okay, I see the spin, see the hand drop. I know it's coming. Let me, you know, but I feel like that really helps. But with this VR thing, that was a game changer. I mean, if they could do that to simulate a pass rush, or O-line.
Oh, it's coming if it's not here already.
I mean, that would have helped me so much.
Oh, it's coming.
But visualizing thing, and like I used to do it before because my dad told me, but like meeting with the sports psychiatrist, he took it to another level.
Yeah.
Being a tennis player, they always taught us to visualize, right? They even had, when the VHSs came out, there was a tape of somebody hitting a forehand over and over and over. And it was just, and what it does is it gives you extra reps in your head. After a while, your mind doesn't know the difference between it happening physically and happening mentally, and it gives you more experience. And for you to be able to feel it and look at it, if we put one of these on you right now and told you to walk a tightrope and you couldn't see it, you would be out there like doing like all of this. So it's getting a real experience. So he probably has a couple of extra years worth of reps that he's put on through his VR headset.
But if you watch it, it shows like
which explains his poise and his
calmness.
He's like, that's why when we talk about the game being slow, in his mind, he's played the game 1,000,000 times over before he even got there.
So you want to change your pick?
No.
Hey, say what you want. Hey, this game on Sunday ain't no VR, boy.
Yeah, you've been talking so good about Daniels for this last segment. I just wanted to make sure.
I love it. He still got 6 losses this year. Like it hasn't been whatever.
You know what's crazy? Like, all right, so I know in Dallas we had Trevor Mawad, who used to work with Russell Wilson and died.
he worked with Alabama for a long time.
Right.
He's renowned before he passed.
Renowned. So I worked with him a few times. I want to attribute these 2 examples to him, but maybe it wasn't him, but respect to him, rest in peace. To me, the reps, yes. The 10,000 hours, Gladwell, yes. But there's a perspective you can get from all of those experiences that just, when you can put life in its proper category, you realize I'm here, I do, it's over. It ain't like, when you realize football is just a game, you stop playing like this and just relax and trust you got here for a reason, now go get it. It's a wrap. Like, dog, you in trouble, dog. I'm about to go get you. Here's 2 examples, real quick ones. One is, if you had a board and it was, let's say 4 feet wide, right here, or whatever that is. And he said, walk across the board on the floor. Oh, yeah. Come back. Okay, same board. I'm gonna put it between 2 New York skyscrapers. Walk across it. Consequences, right? You're like, yo, if I don't, I'm not walking the same, whatever I'm doing, right? And I remember that hit me. He was like, so always remember the consequences of it will make you make different choices. Or the choice you made, you're going to look at and think about the consequences. That was perspective building for me. The other one was how not to waste time. And he said, you as you are in potential and you as you are in reality, both of you walk the same pace. Now, in reality, you drop your wallet. You stop to go get it. Now you're ready to go back because you found your wallet. He said, you see that gap? That's the difference between your potential reality. He's like, stop dropping it. Stop dropping that moment, that opportunity, that preparation. Stop letting it go. He's like, because you don't even have to go faster to get better. You just gotta stop messing up and stopping down on the things you're doing and going backwards. Man, and he said, that's just one time you dropped it. How many times you dropped your wallet? How much money you left on that floor? Man, we were sitting there like, How many reps you wasted because you just wasn't into it? He's like, that's it. And then the guy who was just, that's why, I'm gonna butt it up. Remember we used to watch the Looney Tunes, the tortoise and the hare? And we were like, how did the turtle keep beating? Because he didn't drop it. He's like, the hare would be like, going to the store, go talk to a girl, go get something to eat. And he like, I got it. And he would drop it. And that's what it was about for me. Sports psychology, man, fascinated by it.
But it also applies outside of sports too, right? Yeah. You know, I'm a NARP, I'm a lawyer NARP, and like I remember before I became entertainment, I used to be a trial attorney, and I literally would sit in front of the mirror or write a brief from the other side's perspective. So that way, when I go into the game, which is court, I already know what you're about to say. I already know what you're about to do, and I know what my counter is to that. So, you know, that visualization, that preparation, I think it's beautiful. I think it develops focus. I think it provides you some insight on life that transcends not just the sports field, but regular life too. So.
Yeah, that's real. First of all, you're not a lawyer. You're a big-time lawyer. And we connected, man. This dude, like, brother from another, man. This guy, he's so real in terms of like his perspective. He like that's a real perspective to know in any negotiation, they gonna have weapons too. I hate when I talk to cats and they only talk from their perspective and only what they see and only what they gonna do. I'm like, dog, you think they ain't fully loaded over there too? Like, and I always, in any negotiation or proposition, I swear my first thought is, what would they do? Not what I'm gonna do. I know I'm gonna do. I ain't even gotta ask myself. I'm in. I'm like, what they gonna come with?
I didn't learn that until I started holding out for my contracts, man. It took me that long in life to like really think about it. Even through college, because I was always the man. I was always, when I got in there and my agent was like, I'm over here going off, like, why? I've been doing this with Tampa. I did this. Why didn't they? He like, they still got you by the ball. You still in the contract.
Right.
We gotta make. He had to explain to this is what they seen from the other side. Like,
Real.
and I had to sit back and like you said, once I started looking at it as a business, took my emotions out. The second time I held on to Oakland was totally different. But it's the same thing with playing. Once you start playing that ball and you know everything's flowing, if you let's say you have a bad play, once you know it's just ball. It ain't, oh shit, I'm gonna lose my whole contract because of that play.
Right.
Oh, it's ball. You go to the sideline.
Game over.
You go to okay, next play, let's go. Boom, boom. But when you get that confidence comes with that. And it's a beast though. But once me helping me with going through the contracts, me knowing what they were thinking from the other side, that put me in a better predicament. That made me, it got me out my feelings.
Yeah.
Basically, you know, how kind of feel like, I'm like, okay, yeah, okay. If I would, okay, you right.
And everything that everyone is talking about are two things. One is preparation, but two, being process oriented. Because what those things do, it takes the result out of it and allows you just to focus on the things that you can control, which is your process, how you perform, how you go about it, how you get to it, and then you get to the next. You being a tennis player, there's this book, The Inner Game of Tennis, that a lot of people use in terms of mentally trying to get through it. And it is all that, but I think what that does, and look, we can talk about A.J. Brown and reading the books or whatever. I think we're going to have a thing where more people talk about that part of, like, making sure you have yourself right from the neck up. Because so much of it, when we talk about the margins, because Marcellus and Donald and I can all talk about, man, it's a thin line between the guys that are like the Pro Bowlers and the guys that don't make the team. And a lot of times it ends up being the mental part that separates those who play for a long time. The consistency, the reliability, the dependability, all of that stuff comes from the preparation. And as soon as sometimes, man, by the time you figure out, it's over.
It's over. Right.
Because that's typically what happens. By the time you figure out, like, this is how I need to get it. Like, hey, dog, I need to holler at you for a minute.
Yeah. Hey, Coach said, bring your playbook. I got to bring this up right there because it's perfect insertion. Howie Long always talks about the two elevators, your physical and mental elevator. He says when you get drafted, day one, whatever, he's like your physical elevator's up here, your mental one's down here. And he said, you know what your prime is? When they together. Yeah. And he's like, right there, that's your sweet spot. And think about it. Like when you're young and, you know, full of it, piss and vinegar, like you running in circles, you do the road run, you know, you just doing, and then all of a sudden it slows down because you slow it down. And then you realize I can still run like that and move, but now I'm thinking through it differently. I know how to maneuver that corner and hit this. And then he said, right there, that sweet spot. And I think that's what we all strive for.
Especially, yeah.
Absolutely, and we were talking. You were talking about young athletes earlier. I'm going through that with my daughter, who's a D1 track athlete. She got there in 2 years, basically shorter than almost anybody who runs track. Yeah. But her mental has to catch up to what her physical can do. Right, so you may be ultra fast, ultra strong. You may be able to run and catch and do whatever, but your mind has to have that confidence to know that you can do it in the trying times and to get over your mistakes and get over your wins too. Because you have to keep, you got to treat those two as imposters. You know what I mean?
Your biggest enemy is that voice in your head. That's your biggest enemy, because if I tell you how many times I had to tell myself, like, hey, you got this. Especially me when I was coming in free agent, I'm over here like, dog, can I do this? Like, do I got this? Like, I keep telling myself, no, I got it. I'm losing a rep. No, I got it. Try something different. And then, like you were saying too, I relied on my athletic ability so much early in my career. When I got towards that end, that technique came.
Fundamentals.
Humor individual came important to me towards the end of my career. Okay, let me get this right. And you know, now when I coach these kids, I try to teach them the fundamentals early. Technique early.
Believe in it.
And then rely on athletic, but if you have to, use technique first. That was the opposite. And I wish I would have learned that, you know, a little bit earlier, but.
That's the curse of the gifted, and that's why so many talented players get waxed when they find somebody else who's competent in terms of talent. Like, you qualify talent-wise. I'm at the bottom, but watch this technique, these fundamentals, like your ass. And that's what happens. And it happens so many times in so many different spheres. Like, when you look at it, I love the fact that you were talking about, like, I use my physical gifts. And I tell my son this all the time. I was like, dog, because he's in a stage where he's like, life's not fair. And then he's at the same stage, you're like, you know, I'm good at this and not good at this. And I was like, you need to count what you're good at and then count on it. Like, he's so fast. But then he talks about what he can't do. And I was like, well, one, you don't even use what you can do.
Yeah.
Not to your fullest. And every kid, I'm not talking about my kid, I'm talking about for every kid, what you are leading at, try to put in money and time and investment in that, and then build up around it. But these kids sometimes get told, build up everything and leave the lead dog behind.
So it's funny because in the NFL, when we're scouting, we're talking, and an old coach said this, like, the league is really a league full of specialists. My job is to identify what your strengths are, and then I build the team based on what everyone's collective strengths, how they kind of complement one another. But, this coach told me, he said, if you always play to your strengths, you have no weaknesses. And so many times in life, everyone's like, oh, well, if you're a basketball player, you got to be able to dribble, you got to be able to shoot, you got to be able to. Well, what if I'm a knockdown shooter? I'm just a catch and shoot guy. I just sit in the corner, you throw it to me, I knock it down. Well, then I ain't got to do all that dribbling. But it really is that, and it's the fallacy of, I got to have a complete game. No, you have to figure out what your dominant skill is and make sure that your dominant skill is dominant all the time. And then leave it to somebody else to figure out the other stuff.
So I'm going to go back to the Marucci example you gave me earlier, because it made me think about baseball, like Coach Little League Baseball. I'm thinking about for parents with kids. We're talking about as adults. We're thinking very advanced topics that maybe 8, 9, 10-year-olds don't understand. So when I coached baseball, the other 3 coaches are very on fundamentals, batting stance, hitting stance, where to stand, all that. My focus was, hold on, do you even know where you want to hit the ball? No. What do you mean? Can you point where you want to hit the ball? Right there where the fielder is. Why do you want to hit the ball to the fielders and catch the ball? Oh, find an open spot. There. Okay. Right, so some of it's just bringing it down to, going back to visualization. One of the things that the kids did was they hit at a place called Easton Hit Lab. It's like, the kids use Marucci bats specifically because of that sound, that metal, that clang. So for them to see on screen how fast they're hitting the ball, where it's going, and then to translate it onto field, not just think of the image, it's where do you want to hit it? Point there first before you swing at the ball. So that you can see it, to your point, visualization. But, that was kind of my strength. Forget the baseball mechanics, because I'm not a baseball player. The other coaches were. For me, it was, how do I set you up so you're successful every time you're out on the field, whether it's hitting or playing defense? Do you know why you're there? Do you understand where you want to hit the ball. So just want to bring that up from a different lens.
You know what my when I do my visualization, and you know what it never works on? My freaking golf game. I visualize on the way to the golf course.
I don't care what you think.
And when I get there, it's the total opposite. It worked in football, but it does not work in my golf game at all.
Dog, golf is the unfaithful girl we all dated.
Hey.
I don't care what you do, you ain't making her happy and she ain't staying faithful. Every swing is a different swing, a different dude. No matter who you, I go to, because golf is my first sport. I'm 5 years old playing golf.
Right?
Yeah, my dad took me. I had a 3-set club. You know, you got your little iron, you got your wood, you got your putter. I'm 5 years old going to Palms Golf Course right there, Rancho. And my dad, me, this is no lie, Calvin Pete, who was a professional golfer, one of the first black golfers, and Smokey Robinson. The rest, let's just say, look different than me and my daddy and us. And I remember golfing, and I'm 5 years old, I hit this 40-footer or something, and I'm so pumped, I'm running around the green screaming. I'm thinking that's what you do when you hit a 40-footer. I see all these old guys out there struggling 3 feet away. And then my dad looked at me, and everybody looked at me like, do you know what golf is? Shut it, chill. And I was like, I'm not lying. That moment I said, I'm not playing golf for real. I play golf for fake and just for fun. But the greatest thing about all of this is, when you have a talent, and I hate this world when it tells you to be so humble with your talents that you lie to yourself. And I think a lot of times we see these kids that have that talent, and because we want to build so much around them, we're making them lie to themselves. That's what you got. Dog, I could do one thing when I first played football, run. I wasn't cutting, I wasn't juking. I was just like, oh, I got to get there before him? Watch this. I'm there. And I was a track guy who played football, and it turned into that. It wasn't that deep. And I actually stood out from the rest because my coach was like, no, we're going to throw 38 toss.
LA Jets.
LA Jets. We're going to win championship. 38, 37 toss. And I'm only telling this story because I want people to realize, deduce it to its simplest form, which is Occam's razor. The answer is pretty simple. Like, you overthinking it. You're trying to make your kid all this next level stuff when really that kid can do that if you would just hone in on that and totally support them. Okay, now I need some total support right now. We're about to get into the topic that I'm sure everybody wants to get around in. There's a beef out there. And I say beef old school. My old school beef is beef means we got a problem and we talking it through. We going at it about it. I heard new school beef means there's some encounters, physical. I don't do that. But Ryan Clark and I have been talking back and forth in basically the same lane of racial conversations, race baiting, since I was at Fox. So we go back to 2018, maybe 2019, us on different sides, something like that. This conversation got ignited once again because I did a video of Ryan Clark. Now, a video of him talking about Josh Allen losing last year. And let's just say the way he summed that up was like, Josh, no excuses. You're going to have to beat the greats. But this year, when Lamar didn't beat Josh Allen, he summed it up like, it ain't on you. It's all good. And I looked at that, I was like, wow, knowing what I know or at least believe of Ryan Clark and his analysis, where he will insert race more than most, and then just listening to him, his own words, kind of wrestling himself, I'm like, this looks like hypocrisy, race baiting. That's all I said. But whatever I say didn't matter to me because it mattered more what you said. And that's all I lived off of the video. So now, I don't care if this is Q&A. I don't care if this is Marcellus, you wrong. I don't care what y'all say. I want to give the floor to y'all. Ryan Clark, ding, 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 and me in a beef. What y'all saying?
So this is hard for me.
Oh, go get it.
Because both of y'all are my dudes.
Oh, okay.
So you and I are tight, and I'm tight with Ryan. Like, we go way back. So for me to see it, I'm like, oh my God, you got me right here, and like in the middle. But I will say, beef aside, that freestyle you did, bruh. So I don't know where I was at. I was like, wait a minute, Marcellus is freestyling to go against RC? Like, I don't know if there's a comeback to that. Like, I'm still looking around the house trying to figure out, like, where did he take this at? I was like, and who gave him bars? And I was like, is Marcellus Drake? Did somebody write his stuff? Like, who wrote this?
We gotta play. Can we play it? Can we play it?
It was unbelievable. I was like, this dude is freestyling. And so that part of it. But look,
Bucky, I'm top 5. When I'm hydrated, I'm top 5. I got stories.
And let me
I've been
tell
rapping
you,
for 20, 30
and
years.
let me tell you.
No, I'm top 5.
You were definitely hydrated. Because I was like, this dude is dropping on the drop. Like, I was like, that. But no, I think this is funny because, like, there's been a lot of this. So, like, you and RC, Whitlock and Cam, and all this other stuff. And I think what happens when we get lured into these waters, we have some of these things. And that's why in the media space, you got to be really careful when you say what you say, because it better be your own authentic opinion. It can't be one of those where you're goaded by a producer, because what happens, you ultimately have to stand for whatever is said in front of that counter. And what might have been cool for the producer to be like, hey, man, you know, can you go a little hard on that? In a production meeting, when the cameras come on, that producer's not there. So my own thing is whenever anybody kind of swims in those waters, just make sure it's your opinion.
Yeah.
Because
Put
you're
your
the
name on
only
it.
one
Yeah.
that has to fight back when people come back at you.
People got to, if you make a mistake, you make a mistake. Like, you got to stop trying to turn it into beef. Sometimes people got to say, hey, you're right. You fact check. You got me. I did say that. And I'm addressing it different. And if it is about race, maybe I am sticking up for him, because you got to fact check that. You got to just be
Fact check your feelings.
Yeah, but your feelings.
As
Put
I
your feelings
said.
to the side. And hey, if you made a mistake, because Clark has said a lot of outrageous stuff, and he has contradicted himself a lot of times. And on that stage where he's at, it comes with that. But sometimes when these people get on that big stage, Stephen A., all of them, they're like they can't apologize and say I made a mistake. It's okay. It's okay.
It's also okay to say that your opinion has evolved.
Yeah.
It's also because that's where we are. We don't stay in the same place. So we can feel one year about Josh Allen, and the next year have a different opinion on that, and be able to say, like, yeah, if someone calls you on it, like, yeah, but this is this year, and here's how I feel, and this is why. Because that's what it is. It's standing on your opinion while giving facts or the ability to support why you certainly feel like that.
Yeah, one thing Max Kellerman used to always say is new evidence, you're gonna have a new conversation. Like, and I used to love that because it's like, I have evolved. I've been through phases. I've been through those urges where the producer's like, you sure you don't want to put a little hot sauce on that?
Hey, give me a little,
Give me a little more. And I've stepped in it as many times. I told Baker Mayfield to his face when I saw him at the NFL Honors last year, I was like, dog, when you were struggling, I was on your head. Because I thought I'd come locker room. Like, my whole commentary was me. So I'm like, dog, what you doing? You sorry right now. You ain't doing right? Just on like that level. But whenever I would say it, I would never own it to the point where I can't move from it. Like I'm leasing that opinion until you, now he balling. And I saw him last year when he was balling the year before. And I was like, dog, you eating, you about to get a new contract. He's like, yeah, I know. So I'm like, good for that. So I don't understand the stubbornness to this, where it's like, if you said this and it's obvious you meant that, because you said it, we hope, and then you said this and they totally don't go together, which one's right and which one's wrong, instead of both of them right and you wrong? I don't get that.
So two of my favorite terms, and I like to live by them, is stand on business.
Oh, yeah.
And keep that same energy. As long as you do those, things will be fine for you. So if you're doing, like what Bucky said, you playing for the camera because the producer or whoever's egging you on, or if you're just trying to make good TV, I mean, that's fine. People do that. But whatever comes from that, you got to be able to accept that too. I mean, I know y'all kind of touched on that. And I think a lot of times with him specifically, he seems to be in his feelings. Yeah. So if you know you playing for the camera, or you know you saying something, whatever it is, just accept what comes with it. You are hitting the right. I'm saying it's just accept. I'm just saying just accept what comes with it, and it is what it is. And specifically with you, like, if you know the type of person you are, if he would just address you and say, hey, this is what I said, this is what it is, this is how I feel. Right. Whether you agree or disagree, it's not going to be no beef.
No beef.
But the fact that you getting emotional and then taking it elsewhere, it's like now you look crazy, and it's a fight you probably still gonna lose anyway, because everybody can see it.
Everybody can see it. Like
Don't make us all go to the studio.
I really look at it like, I'm like, dog, you act like you arguing with me. You're arguing with yourself because you got two different opinions out there that people are seeing in stark contrast. Like, which one is real? Because one of them got to be fake, because there's no way you say that and say that. And then, look, I use my education. I know in any computation, I can isolate variables, and then I can put you in a corner. I'm like, all right, so the only thing that's really different is not their playing style. You close your eyes, you're looking at Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, like, yeah, Josh got a little more power. Other than that, they calling runs for him designed as well. So I'm like, it ain't that. They both could put up great stats. They both are in the MVP conversation. I was like, there's only one thing that's obvious, and I'm a football player first to Ryan Clark. So you're not gonna get me into broadcasting mode where I'm gonna start lying to you. Dog, the paint job. How many times we done seen, oh, look at that receiver, he white, he ain't. Touchdown, you're like, okay, don't let the paint job fool you. And I was like, so are you still caught up in Josh Allen's paint job, or you really just don't like Josh Allen? Because these landings are different for two players that are approaching it the same way. One loss, one loss. And I just didn't get it. Now, the whole smoke, let me just say this.
Caught you in catch.
Yeah. Oh, I can explain all that. But
he pulled up on you in catch.
No, let me tell you.
Let me instigate a little bit.
All right. First of all,
Can I instigate a little bit?
I'll break it down.
Catch,
Catch Vegas too.
yeah.
Catch Vegas.
Before you tell your story,
Oh no, what you
the
want?
streets are saying he ran up on you and you ain't want that smoke. That's what I heard.
I'll let you answer this way. First of all, this beef goes back to like Fox, like I said, so this is not anything new. I wanted to engage with Ryan Clark. Like, the beef started because he disagreed with something I said about something he said and vice versa. I'm like, all right, let's talk. But then I become sellout, bitch, hoe. Like now I'm like, okay, but I already know he emotional. I already know his type, and I already know people that work with him. I know people that have had fights with him, beefs with him, and I can out that, but I'm not trying to play outside the boundaries.
He got hands?
Shut your
He got hands?
Is he a 305?
I don't know what he got, because
got
I
hands?
ain't gonna see him.
I know, we ain't-
I'm not
I know,
playing
I'm
that
talking
game.
shit. We ain't
I
never
know I
taking
love
it
that. But my thing was like, dog, all I said was what you said I disagree with, and you want to go all there and man-to-man and face-to-face and catch a fade. I'm like, how old are you? Like, I haven't had a fight since 11th grade, and I won't have one. I don't care what he does. I'll do like in them cartoons, like Little Rascals. I'll be like, dog, no, we're not fighting. Dog, I'm not fighting you. Like I have 4 kids. I have a wife. I am 50. You will not say a word. I'm saying you can't. There's nothing he can say to me. Right. My mama gone. My wife here. There's nothing you can say to me to make me get off my square.
Marcel, but you could tell by somebody's reaction and somebody's way they come back at you that you won and that they know they're wrong.
I know he's wrong. He know he's wrong.
By the way, I'm hearing this. He in his way.
Oh yeah. Whenever you
just said this last week.
We said it last week. Say it.
Y'all, we exchanging words, going back and forth. That first person that wants to take it physical is the person that lost.
Right.
Because you in your feelings now.
You're right. Earlier this week.
And that's it. So that's where it started, and that's where I left it. But he thought I left it where I'm not gonna mess with him anymore because he scared me or we don't want to fade. No, I'm gonna always talk about you when it is appropriate. And I'm never catching a fade. And I'm never throwing a fade. There's no routes to be run on this conversation. But I will always talk about you when I see hypocrisy. And that's what's killing him right now. So he did another video this morning. I'm going to do that one too. I'm going to break down your words against you for life. Because I'm going to cover sports, and I'm going to cover those who cover sports. And unless you want to quit, you're going to get hit. If you the dog that's going to holler. And that's all I got to say. I'm not going to run up on you. So let me give you the 2 examples because I think he's trying to portray it because dog, I am from LA. I'm from Compton. I'm from Snowfall.
6'4".
I'm from dog.
6'4", give him the
dog.
stats.
And the giggle is because
seen the Phantom on Crenshaw many times. No security.
No security.
No security ever.
Shut up! Don't give me. I ain't got a Rolls Royce now. That's you.
Ferrari,
Rolls Royce right here.
Ferrari too. I done name 'em.
Dog, and I hate when I hate when people think that they take my kindness for weakness, because like I'm a soft, likable, jolly old big old dude.
I know we instigating. Let me stop.
But let me say this. No, you
Keep
can't.
going.
I'm never gonna go. But so it started, all that stuff back and forth, back and forth. So I'm like, damn, he really hot. Like, I'm like, this is conversation off of ESPN versus Fox and Twitter. You really want one? When I grew up around and you grew up around, so if you really grew up around it, you don't want to go back there. You don't want that. So already thinking, strike one, you're not telling me the real or you ain't really from it. I do not want any of that warfare in my life. At all. Like, anytime somebody goes there, I'm like, you faking it. But go ahead, fake it. Try and win your awards. I see him at the ESPYs, and my boy was running the event, Darren Matthews. I put his name and number out there. And so Darren running the event, and he's like, come here, Marcellus, come take a picture. And I'm coming. And then he's like, whoa. I'm like, and he's like, oh, Ryan don't want to take a picture with you. I was like, oh, okay. So as soon as they're about to take a picture, I walk up and I take the picture with him.
Deboed him.
No, it's not about punking him. It's about.
But you deboed it. You deboed him.
Low-key,
You deboed him.
Is that really?
and put his drink on his shoulder.
Yeah, I'm like this.
And put his drink on his
I'm
shoulder.
like, dog. I'm like, oh, yeah.
Hey, you heard it? With the pinky out too.
You ran up on your ex with her dude, and what you did is you hugged her and kissed her in front of her.
I know.
Yeah, he sunned him.
No, y'all ain't heard the whole
sunned
story
him.
yet. See, y'all thinking I'm sunning him. That's not the whole story.
Oh my!
Grab the bean.
I don't want to take a picture, and then you jump.
No. My boy was like, whoa, he don't want to take a picture with you. I'm like, that's not martial law. So I'm taking the picture because I'm right here, and he's like, nah, he don't want to take a picture with you. I was like, what, 5th grade, 6th grade? Like,
Get out the picture.
okay, yeah. So I took the picture. I ain't intrude his space and personal space so they took the picture. Then they were like, all right, we walking off. He walking off. I said, Ryan, what's up, man? You good? And he was like, and so he mad at me.
He grunted. Don't tell me he grunted like
No,
that.
whatever.
Please don't tell me he grunted
I'm
like
not
that.
trying to do this.
Please don't tell me.
That was that moment. I didn't see Ryan Clark again to catch. I know. And so catch is what Ryan brought up, because he ain't gonna bring up the other one. When I'm like, if you so mad off of Twitter and stuff and you want to engage with me, I'm right here. You already told people here you don't want to take a picture with me. That's fine. I ain't gonna mess with you. Then after it, Ryan, hey, how you doing? Nothing to say? All right, well, good. And I wasn't gonna beef with you. You could have swung. I was like, man, don't do that. Don't do that either. Don't do that. I play D-line. This ain't gonna work. So I'm like, good. I would have went to sleep and got money. I would have got paid. I don't know. I'm not gonna fight him, dog. I'm too old for that. And other things. So let me say, we had catch. I didn't see Ryan Clark. I go up to a table, it was like Mina Kimes and Orlowski and Swagoo. And I said, oh, what's up, y'all? How y'all doing? And they're like, hey, what's up? I'm not even gonna read their table, but it was a little different than normal. But I was like, I know y'all Ryan's people, I assume, so whatever. So I just say hi. About 2-3 sentences in, Ryan run up on me and give me my monologue, which is, hey, big dog, you said I was scared to talk to you on your show. I'm here right now. And I just, no, for real, in one breath. And he was like, so if you're gonna keep it real, tell your people that. All right, and then he walked away, and I said, hey, Ryan, what's up, man? And so he even references this. I was like, we still haven't had a hello, and what's the issue? And he walked away and went back to his real table because he wasn't with them. I'm fine with that. I'm like, good, okay, I'm not gonna lose sleep, Ryan. You fast forward, I do the video, and that's what he's mad at. He's like, my words are being used against me, and now I got a problem. So, all I want to say to the world is, I won't talk to Ryan Clark. I won't let him on my show because, one, I've never had a guest on my show. And I think it's very entitled and audacious for somebody to say, hey, I'm coming on your show. What's up? I don't call him about First Take and I'm coming on. Like, you invite me, I'm coming on. I can't tell you. One, I've never had a guest. I never will. That's my show. It's my diary because not anybody want to go. I don't want y'all to go where I'm going to go. And I don't want everybody to go, ooh. This is my diary. 2, I don't want to have a conversation with you because I already know one of your outlets is a fade, a square, what's up? And I'm like, dog, I have left all of that behind me because I never even was involved with that. That's so immature to me to show me how tough you are. I don't need another notch on my belt. Dog, I played in the league. I balled out. I did my thizzle. I broke banks. I don't need a Ryan Clark and me and him had a confrontation notch. So I won't talk to him. Call me a punk, I'm the punk. Call me whatever you want, I am. But the thing is, he ain't done. He's still doing videos to get more of these words out there, because to your point, I think he realizes I was in the wrong. Who is he to call me out? But that's who I am. I'm gonna be the one to call you out. You can call me out, but it ain't gonna never get back to those fighting hands.
That spotlight is something he was on enemy too. Lights is bright. Sometimes people don't like being called out. On
None
that
of them
level.
like it, and I'm glad they don't like it, because this is why. So people thinking like Marcellus don't work on ESPN and Fox no more, so now he coming at him. When did our beef start? When I was at
He's
Fox.
on Fox.
No, I was coming at him then. I was like, dog, y'all be talking like y'all ain't never played this game, did this thing the right way. So I'm not picking up something new. It's just brighter than it's been. And I will keep them all under the same spotlight they keep these athletes under. I think it's a noble cause. And I just don't, tell me this, why do people want to beef and actually throw hands? Like, do they know people lose their lives that way? Families are affected. You gonna get, even if you beat me up, your knuckles gonna look bad. Like, I don't see one win in this tough card, but it keeps going there.
You know how many cameras in catch? We see what happened to our boy.
Oh yeah, Willie
We
Mack.
see what happened to our boy, Willie. You see how many cameras in catch? You might have owned your last name. I've been Clark.
Yeah, yeah,
The way these stuff going these days, he got to rethink that though. Like seriously though, this should never come to that though.
Insecurities.
It won't.
That's all it is.
I mean, I can see it from a mile away, and that's why I'm just laughing. Like, look, and the reason I did the freestyle is because I was like, if Kendrick wiped Drake out with the song, the last one, I got one for you too, big dog. And like, I didn't want to keep Twitter fingering them. I was like, forever listening to this if you understand where I'm coming from.
My only thing is, if you're about that life, you're about that life. It is what it is. But he's the same person that specifically, and I'm not instigating or trying to throw shade, but he has openly said, I'm not the tough guy. I'm not from that. I'm not doing that. I'm not about that. So I just think it's a weird exchange that doing that now.
I think his only win is to try to portray he's tougher than me, because he knows I'm not gonna play tough card. Like, he knows that ain't even my deck. The dealer ain't dealt me tough card, not because I'm not tough. I'm not gangster, but I'm no punk. But I won't fight you. So it's like, I can act like I'm gonna fight him when he runs away. I called him, he hung up. No, you didn't. Now, if I screenshot that like you screenshot you, it would show it's red. What does red mean? You didn't pick up. So I'm like, I don't wanna do him like that. I just did you like that. So like, the point is, like, stop. Like, just go away, safety. Like, no, my safety ever try to fight me? I'm like, what? You need me, I need you. Like, go cover and I'll
Like
go.
the quarterback trying to fight the whole lineman, huh?
Dog, I was like, yeah, it's kind of weird. You want in on this? You good? Okay, good. All right. I would transition out of this because I don't want any personality issues, any relationships. Bucky's cool with Ryan. I'm cool with, here's the thing, Ryan doesn't understand. I'm cool with Ryan. I just said stop race baiting, dog. One, I don't need a pat on the head. Lamar Jackson don't need you to tuck him in at night. No one black needs you to give us a 100-meter dash, but we only got to run 90. Nobody needs that. So he's making this conversation weird. I don't need any of that. And two, dog, when you're wrong, you're wrong. When you're right, you're right. I am not mad at you. But if you that mad at me, I'm going to have fun with it. And I ain't going to stop doing it because that's what I do. Simple as that.
This was Catch in L.A.?
Nah, catching in Vegas.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say.
Yeah, but the Super Bowl's in New Orleans, so
LA.
I'm gonna wipe my ass.
You don't know where you from?
I don't care where I'm from. I'm good.
On the set?
I love it. Like, I've never seen, dog, we both play in the league. How can you walk out of the league? There's nothing tougher than the league. There's nothing we can do that is going to be said or done that's going to make somebody say we tougher. So you still really want to be tough? Like, just take the words and make those tough. And here's my last point. He has never addressed what I initially said, which is, tell me why you said that about Josh, but didn't say the same about Lamar. All this other poetry you over here waxing is not what we need to do. Okay, good. Y'all scared of Ryan Clark, and then you love him. I'm gonna be nice. I'm messing with him. All right, but trust me, I'm an instigator. Like I am.
No.
I'm Compton,
Dad,
Kendrick.
I didn't
Like
know, yeah.
I got jokes.
Bucky, the
jokes, dog.
corporate, Bucky's, that's the corporate guy right there.
Yeah. That's what freestyle. I was like, oh.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
No.
Like
That's why I haven't had a fight since
I
11th grade.
didn't expect that because I was like, where did this come from?
That's why I wanted to hear his
all
opinion
these
first.
beats, huh? You
Because I
about
know
to
he's a
freestyle.
corporate.
You about to
You a
freestyle
corporate
all
guy
these
over
Oh
there.
no. Oh, you know what I'm gonna do?
freestyle though, and I was
I'm gonna
like,
call up old school. I'm gonna
like,
call up my boy,
I was like,
and we
wait.
gonna meet you. Where you at? You know what? I got to bring this story up because people don't think me and Ryan Clark. I don't want it to be just that. I had the same issue with Draymond Green. I was at Sports Nation, so this is even before Ryan Clark. Way back. Right. And so I'm gonna just give you this so y'all could tell Ryan Clark. Let's play the Draymond Green role in this. Me and Draymond going back and forth, and I'm like me, I'm still a jokester. So anyway, we in Vegas. This is the best moment. So we leaving Dre's after hours. So it's like
hydrated.
Situation.
we in the zone. And I expect everybody else out there with me in the zone too. So all of a sudden, you know, see, this is how beef really goes. Your homies be like, yo. I'm like, what? Draymond right there. And I'm like, oh, okay. So you know me, big goofy silly, walk right up to Draymond, and like Draymond like, and his boys like doing the same thing. Like, no. That's Wiley.
It's going down.
Wiley bigger than you thought, and I'm like, Draymond ain't smaller like I thought. Like, he big as shit too. Like he's small NBA. He's big in the field, right? So I'm like, oh snap. So I'm like, I'm walking up to him, and he don't know my intentions, and I don't know his. But
So
I
ready?
know mine.
So you ready though?
Right? No, I'm not ready. No, I'm ready to crack this joke. I know I'm about to clown and be like, hey, what's up? But he don't know that, and I don't know if he gets it yet.
I'm firing off before I ask questions.
So I walk up, and we about 5, 4, 3, 2, take off, ignition. And I go like this, what's up, boy? How you been, baby? I'm sorry, man. We had this little tip of that. We here right now. I love you. Like some silly shit. And I swear, 200 pounds got off him right there. He's like, man, what's up, boy? Yeah. And I was like, dog, I know we done had our thing. I don't do that for real. Me and you, I really meant what I meant, and I know you really meant what you meant, but man, as you know, he gave me a number, I gave him my number, and he's like, all right. We texting each other, where you going? Are you going there? I'm like, dog, it's 7 in the morning now. Right. So now, you know, friend of the family, I see him all the time. But the point is, I don't understand another dynamic from that. Maybe because I'm not in that space. I would never be in that space. You can't take me to that space. And it just is. So hopefully Ryan Clark realizes you ain't nothing but Draymond to me, big dog, which is a dude who does what he does that I respect and salute. But we ain't got to go no deeper than that. All right, let's get into our last two topics as we always do. Cam Newton, damn. I don't know if y'all saw this. Cam Newton went viral, and it wasn't because of what Cam said, which is unusual for Cam. Somebody was listening to Cam Newton on 4th and 1 in his podcast, and Cam Newton started talking about how he had to make lifestyle adjustments because he's not in the league anymore. And this TikToker fan or whatever was breaking down like, yo, Cam, you made 130-something million in the league. Yo, Cam, you got 8 kids, you had them kids. Yo, Cam, the last thing we want to hear as a viewer, as a fan of yours, is your gripes or your issues with your situation. If you spent all that bread, you spent all that bread. If you good, you good. But the last thing I need to hear while I'm trying to keep my lights on is Mr. 133 million has got to live differently. And I thought, it ain't about Cam and this guy. It's more about this story I've heard countless times where there's this fan perspective of like, y'all got such a head start. If y'all burn it, funk y'all. And then the players are like, yeah, I got a head start, but anybody who gets a head start at 20 is going to give away a lot of that lead. Because guess what? If you want to see anybody go broke, give them money early and young. They going to spend that thing. So I just want to get it around here, around intelligent people. What's your response to this conversation?
Well, one, I think it's so funny because like people are so fascinated about other people's money. So whatever it is, whether it's Cam, whether it's Deshaun Watson, whatever, it always goes to the money because there is an envy sometimes for when people have money or whatever. Whatever Cam did with his cash is what Cam did with his cash. And we don't know when he talks about really making a lifestyle adjustment, what does that mean? Is he adjusting because he's socking it away to make a bigger move? Any of those things.
Good point.
But if I'm someone that's mad because on his podcast, he decided to talk, I ain't say this for you. If you don't like it, go do something else. So it's just a weird space, but there is this fascination with other people's money and also with the demise of the athlete when they get money. Like, we love the, oh, he made all this money, now look at, he's broke.
Yeah.
There's something about us, the crabs in the barrel mentality, where we love to celebrate the demise of others.
I will say this, because I went to, of all of us, probably the school where the NARPS were winning more than the athletes, right? So I saw it. They put out an article, our school paper. So our graduation week, they put out a school paper where the graduates are going to work next year and what they're going to make. And this was the first time I felt like I got my due as an athlete at a school. I mean, we had 13,000 people at our games. Like, it's Columbia football, respect to it, but it's low compared to what y'all went through. And they put the article out, and number one was me because I got drafted, and how much I made, $500,000, because that was one of the years, 4 years, 2.1 million. They put 500,000, and I was like, damn. And you could see and hear, and people came up to me like, you got the most? Second place was like 90,000, Goldman Sachs, you know, going in there as analysts or something crazy, right? So I remember those vivid conversations that we had. Like, I hate to say envious, jealous, or resentful, but they're like, fuck, how you get a head start like that? And so they not mad at you. They ride with you. They come to the games, you got tickets, you go to the club, you got the drinks, all that. But as soon as, if you do come back to me, I knew it all along. I should have been the one that had that head start. I'm the one that put in the real work. I did something that's sustainable. It felt like that.
First thing, stop counting other people's coin. I think that's like where I'm from. We always say, don't count my coin. And the second thing is, my father-in-law always has this thing about people always want to feel like this. They want to feel equal. And the moment you start doing this, it's not that you feel like you're better than them. It's just that they have some complex about it that they want you back down here. Yeah. So whenever people start doing this and start this Cam Newton debate, it's what they're really saying is what you said, like, I want to see your downfall. I want to feel like you're back here with me. Yeah. And it has nothing to do with his coin. It has everything to do with your own personal perception of yourself. So.
Ooh, yeah, like, you in that position, you don't think you're bigger than them. They just feel like they lesser than you. And I mean, I went through it. I mean, I've had vivid conversations. I was like, dog, I ain't even thinking like that. Like, when, look, I do notice when the bill comes, you hit the bathroom. But guess what? I also notice that when the bill comes, I got it. Yeah. Because, dog, I know how much this costs and how much it's going to tax you in your lifestyle versus me. But when it gets into, like, deeper intentions of, like, I'm going to hold my breath till you come back here. And come back down to my level. I'm like, what level? I thought we was on the same. I'm just making different bread.
I think there's two types of hate. There's the one that's, I'm jealous of your success, and there's the other hate that's, I'm not jealous of your success, I just don't want to see you do better than me. Mm-hmm. Whichever side somebody fits on it, whatever side of that coin you're on is on you. But going back to not counting people's money, I think even with somebody like Cam, it's like he could say, yeah, I have to live differently now. He was making $100 million. What if he's living off of $10 million now? Yeah. Like, he's still not living like you. Right, so at the end of the day, it's like, stay out this man's pockets, and whatever he got to do is what he got to do. You got to focus on yourself and his decisions or whatever he chooses to do. He earned that money. He put in the time to do whatever he had to do to get it. Just let him live.
Dog, that's like, what happened when MC Hammer went broke, and everybody was like, oh, he went broke and bankrupt and all that, whatever it was. And I was like, do y'all understand that he ain't hurting for nothing? He just got to rearrange, put some things in different orders and priorities, but whatever he has left is probably still way more than you even have, which is like, but look, I'm not saying he is
rich broke and broke.
Broke?
It's broke and rich broke. It's two different things. It's the truth.
And that's the conversation, and I'm like, it's so funny because we're all in school together. We all grew up together. We're all in the same Pop Warner teams. And it's like, we all tried. So don't, like, I'm not clowning you because you didn't make it. Because you did reps with me. We went to the gym together. We both ran gassers. Okay, I get drafted. Now, I hope you ain't just riding because it's going to be the free ride. I hope you're rooting because it's like, that's my boy who I put in work with who got there. But then it gets weird whenever, as Jay-Z said it, right? He was like, you both broke, you don't know if you're friends because you both need something. You both rich, you don't need each other. And if it's like one is rich and one ain't, then you're gonna find out. And who's who. And I'm like, I've seen it too many times when somebody down on their luck and then everybody else is like, not just like, I got you, but like, gotcha.
Yeah.
Like, welcome, you're back home.
Yeah, no, because it's that stuff, whatever it is. Like, you can see it, like, on social, you see it on Facebook and those things. They put, oh, this athlete has lost all his money, or that stuff. And it's unfortunate, but you're right, because it speaks to an insecurity that you have inside when you worry about what other people have. And at some point, you got to run your own race. Your race is different than my race, and I shouldn't be jealous or envious for you running. Like, I don't know. I just feel like it's a weird space that we're in when we look to prey on people's downfalls.
I'll say this before I get out of here. Like, there's definitely going to be a adjustment for anybody depending on how you took care of your money in the league. I just feel like Cam fell into a position kind of I fell into. Cam thought he had a couple more years. So Cam thought, okay, I'm going to start now for the future.
Yeah.
And it was a little too
I'm going to
late.
put 10 more in on it.
It's a little too late because Father God, like we talked about all the time, he got a different plan.
Yeah.
And he ain't ever going to miss the ability.
Hell yeah.
We might miss it. But Father Time, Father God ain't never going to miss it. So I feel like Cam, I thought he had, hey, I got 2 more years. Let me start. I'm going to put all them last 2 years up, and then them calls wasn't coming anymore.
If that's broke, which
know,
I did.
but I don't
He
think
just
it's
built a
there.
new studio.
I don't think it's
He
there,
just
though.
built- yeah,
I
he
don't
just
think
built.
it's there, though, but somewhere he wanted to,
Well, I think we-
to do
I think we-
a little bit more, you know, but it's definitely a adjustment from retiring. I went through an adjustment from retiring.
Well,
Yeah,
to
who
now.
hasn't? Raise
Yeah,
your hand.
because-
Who hasn't? It's
because
definitely a big
it-
adjustment.
it
Your
goes-
back hurt? You can't put that on the table?
I'm about to leave.
You
because-
can't reach right
My
here?
back been hurt
Hey,
the
he
whole
talking about
time.
he could go block Chris Jones. Chris Jones will be like,
Yeah, because
said-
Chris Jones will be like, "Dude, what you get out of here with
I
that?"
said, in my hate day.
I know. I'm messing with you.
I love you.
I love you too, big dog. DPJ. Watch this rock. Look at this. Oh,
hey, you like Marcellus and I on those yoga mat. We gotta roll a couple times before we get up.
Hold on. What we always say, 1, 2, 3, edit. Hey, 1, 2, 3, edit. We gotta edit that out.
Oh, so funny. So,
Thanks, man.
you know, I gotta be real. Like, I am a jealous type, and this is how I use my jealousy. I use my jealousy like growing up or now. If there's somebody who got something I want, I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna get that and some. So I don't know if jealousy is even the right word, because I'm never gonna pull them down. I'm just gonna catch up. I don't want to race you and your hamstring get pulled. I don't want to race you and you gave me a head start. Straight up. Oh, you got there, McAfee. You got there, Stephen A. Okay. And so one of the things I told myself when I left Fox, I was like, when that was over, I said, you know what? You got to return to the world better than you left Fox. So like my goal is to one day have that social media post where I'm like, somebody puts Marcellus signs this deal, and they be like, yo, he made more just doing that than he did here and all that. And I'm like, that's my jealousy, because I'm competing against where I was to where I want to be. And you helped me understand where I was because of where you at.
Yeah, and like the whole Cam Newton thing, like we talk about lifestyle adjustments, like I think the thing that everybody, when they leave the game, the money goes out a lot faster than it comes in.
Then it comes in. Hell yeah.
Because when you lose the security blanket of playing and getting those regular checks, like you become a civilian, and it's a different hustle. And so it requires you to wrap your brain around, okay, how am I gonna handle this? And depending on how big the money train is, and in terms of how many people you're supporting at one point, it changes everything. And so we'll figure out what it looks like.
And,
All right, I gotta go.
and it's an unfair advantage because as a civilian, you've had all these years to practice being a civilian and live in a certain way.
Yeah.
And if somebody who came in at 20 years old making millions and millions, and now at 30 you got to go in reverse.
Yeah.
It's an adjustment.
Yeah, that's
so
what my
you're gonna hit that hurdle.
That's Rory and Jabari, my boys. Y'all know financial guys in that space in Wall Street. Both of them start off making 80,000, 90,000, great money, but not 500,000, not millions. Right. And so they got used to their fish tank was 100,000. I could ball out on 100K. Oh, you need a million to ball out, 5 million to ball out. Okay. And then when it's like, all right, now you're not playing. Oh, you got to live off of a different number, and I don't. And it was as simple as like watching them and laughing with them, like, dog, you be going on 4 vacations and all this hanging, and y'all only spent all on the budget of $100,000 you made that year, where all me and my teammates were doing that on millions. And that's where I think a lot of that gets lost in that conversation. Yeah, real talk. All right, here's NBA. Let's finish it up strong. NBA All-Star starters are announced. Let's get those names out there. Giannis, Jason Tatum, KAT, Big Cat, Donovan Mitchell, and Jalen Brunson. That's the East Side. LeBron, Durant, Jokic, Steph, SGA for the West Side. They're going to announce the reserves on January 30th. What I want to ask is, my basketball cat stayed with me. I appreciate y'all. The All-Star game, the format, all the stuff that's coming up. What do y'all think of the All-Stars? Who got snubbed? Who shouldn't be there? Who should be there in this new format? What y'all thinking?
Go ahead, because I don't know anything about this new format.
LaMelo got snubbed.
LaMelo
got snubbed. He's been balling.
Who? Carmelo?
No, LaMelo.
No, I'm messing with you.
He's the new Melo.
I know.
Real Melo now, what they say.
Yeah.
He got snubbed. He's been balling all year. Like, the success they have is strictly because of him. Like, every night there's highlights of what he's doing. He's getting them wins. He led in fan votes, which is crazy. Like, he led the East Coast in fan votes.
Still didn't
get voted as a starter.
God
which
damn.
makes no sense. So I don't know. It's a policy. I mean, I get why they do that.
Yeah.
Because there was a point where there was players who weren't even.
Y'all mean, come on. Y'all mean
and
deserve
get
to be
voted
the
as a
leader
starter.
in votes.
And
Yeah.
So they altered that, but in this situation, it kind of works against him because he should have been a starter.
So he'll be a reserve more than likely.
He'll be a reserve, but he's actually been balling.
Yeah.
So
who you taking off? Who you taking off?
You got to take out Brunson.
Yeah.
Jalen Brunson?
You got to take out Brunson. Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah.
And you agree with him in terms of it's Melo or somebody else?
When it comes to an All-Star game, he's been balling, so he's earned a spot. But as far as the All-Star game and what the All-Star game needs, entertainment and flash and a younger audience, like they should have had Melo in there for sure.
And he's the leader of the new school because you watch the Ball family.
Right.
All those years, like 5, 6 years now, of watching him come up and to develop to where he's at now and then still be putting up the numbers he's doing. And, like, I mean, he's out here showcasing.
He's still trying to figure out.
He's still young. Was he like 23 or something like that? 22, 23?
Yeah, he young. He a little homie. Like, it's crazy because, so here's a wild story. LeVar Ball pops. His brothers I went to school with growing up. Oh, wow. Right. So, like, Lavelle and I forget the other one name because I transferred.
Something.
Yeah, you know it's a lot. Sorry, respect. But they were the twins. We call them the twins. That's why I don't know their name. We call them twins. And I went to Westchester High School, which is basketball town. We had a Nike deal in the 80s. Westchester was it. And way before. Westchester was it. And he was on I think they won a state championship, him, Gumby, all these cats. And then I fast forward and LeVar talking my sons. Oh yeah. But what happened was his brothers got, caught up, got sent up. LeVar was like, that ain't gonna be me or my boys. So he moved way out to where they moved out Chino Hills. And he raised the kids that way. So people don't give LeVar enough respect. He saw what happened to him, his family. He's like, not my boys. I'm going to raise them out there, that little concrete backboard and all that stuff, basketball court. He had them boys out there, right? And you fast forward, I'm at ESPN, and we're interviewing, as they would say, this loudmouth guy who has 3 kids that can play basketball. Then I meet him, and I'm like, they ain't loudmouth. That's like my uncle or something. Like, he's just a homie. And then we talking through it, and then we realize, oh, I know your brother, I know you, and all this and stuff. And I've always been a fan and supporter of all things he's done. Like I ordered, as soon as I heard that he had
your
shoes.
triple B's, because I know you got it. I remember you bought them.
I bought the shirts, the sweatsuit,
The
like
hoodie on the last episode.
yeah, all that. And he was like always want to send me stuff or send me stuff. And I was like, on top of that, I'm about to order this because I need you to get them numbers, right? And now he's in a position where 2 boys are in the league. One's a star for sure. One is hurt, trying to become that star once again. And then the other one's a star in rap
star
right
now,
now,
yeah.
which may even go past. Yeah. But I see all of that, and to keep it NBA, because it's an amazing story. Who's been balling, of all these names, and maybe it's a different name, who's our MVP right now? Who's the best player right now? Like, where are we in this NBA season? Come on.
SGA.
I was going to say SGA too. Yeah.
He number one, so he MVP front runner.
I think
for
he's
y'all?
going to get it this year, MVP.
Yeah.
I mean, don't they got the number one record?
I think so, but didn't they have it last year? I think, well, okay, see, like they have to start learning how to win bigger games. I saw, like I'm not going to say they folded, but they had a tough time in the midseason
folded.
tournament.
They folded.
Same thing last year in the playoffs. So the pressure is on them this year he can win MVP. And I think Chet's is he going to come back this year? I don't know if he's going to come back.
He's been out for a while.
I know. I don't know if it's season ending, but they got to make moves in the playoffs.
Yeah, do it when it counts, because that's where you make the stars. Like when we all are locked in, because right now it's 82 games, it's 28 to 30 teams. Man, I ain't got time, dog. Like, you know what I mean?
He's playing with a
but then
different
it's
level.
like, wait a minute, it's only like 16 of y'all, and then it's down to 8. You know, now we all
He's
in.
playing with a different level of confidence now this year too. Like he was balling last year, but now you know there's that window of time where you can see somebody who's playing like I've arrived.
Yeah.
And he like Ant Edwards hit that like after the Olympics.
Yeah.
He was balling before that, but now like when you see him, it's like I'm that guy.
Dog.
And SGA is playing with that.
SGA, I don't think it was hard on any scout. Like every time I see him at a game, when I see him play, his like arm length and like gumbiness. Yeah, he's so like, he basketball built, and like it's so obvious that guy has the talent, and obviously he works, but it's like he jumps off a court. I'm like, yeah, him. He gonna play basketball and damn well, just the way he looks.
I got a question for you. Knowing that he has all of that and fluidity, MVP race, how do you feel that he was once a Clipper?
I'm saying, did you see it? Did you see it then?
Look. To our credit, it's already documented. It's headline news. The Clippers and the fan base didn't want to give him up. Right. We knew it, but we also, at that time, were not going to keep waiting, and we're still waiting, to win that championship. So when you can get Kawhi, and then Kawhi quietly or loudly is dictating terms, give me another one, and then you like, okay, well, it's going to be Paul George, because I think they tried somewhere else. It was conversation with a bunch of guys, but then Paul George made the most sense. And it was like, to get Paul George, you know what you got to do. And then we were like, do we want to wait for SGA to be that guy? And at that moment, he wasn't that guy.
He wasn't that guy. Yeah.
But we all knew he was going to be that guy. So, like, it's wild. My last question to all y'all, man, basketball ballers out here is, in this new format, they're going up to 40 points. It's 4 games. It's different. Because they trying to make them compete. They like, dog, we know y'all don't want to be here. We get it. It's extra credit, extra work. Who going to try and step out? Who going to be the guy? Who's going to win the MVP based off these names, or who's going to be in it? Who you think, like, I don't care. I'm going for mine. Who you got?
I think it's the legacy guys, Steph, LeBron, or Durant. I think because you know that this is like your time, and they're both 35 plus, I think.
Yeah.
So like,
shoot, LeBron.
Yeah.
plus. Yeah.
Trying to be sitting with us pretty soon.
Yeah. So it's kind of like you want to go out with a bang, and I'm not saying this is their last season, but like it's up there. So like you want to go out with a bang. So I think they're going to try to set the tone. And it'll probably be later in the second half.
Yeah, that part. Oh, we supposed to go hard now, huh?
I mean, in All-Star games, the veterans are always the ones that kind of take the lead in the MVP. And the young players are just trying to feel their way into this new
And respect you, OG. Yeah, like, all right, you want the rock?
Yeah,
you got it.
We in your city, you going to get this.
Yeah,
just
good
goes
point.
I think it's going to be somebody like Giannis, because Giannis don't give a damn. And if he's got a chance to embarrass some old cats, he's gonna do it.
Yep.
And Jokic too. So I think if those two set that tone, I think that LeBron would feel that pressure to like, you know what, maybe I got to step my game up too. Wow. And Durant kind of, I think he would do the same thing. I don't think
care.
Brant don't care.
Yeah, he's chilling, but like if the game gets close, okay, I'm with you.
True.
But as far as setting the tone and being a dominant big dog, it's gonna be somebody like Giannis. And if Jokic cares, he'll do it too.
Man, them Euros, them Africans,
I don't
that
think
global
Jokic
game, like them
cares.
Americans soft.
Listen.
Jokic don't. Jokic
Yeah.
don't care.
They come over there, they be like, look, I smell blood.
Because everybody now is
They
private.
too cool.
Everybody now is private school ballers.
Yeah. Look,
It's a different world.
We got conversations coming up about affluence and raising your kids through affluence. We got conversations of how private school used to be and how it is now. That's where the ballers are, not where they used to not go. All those kind of things, man, because that's who we are in terms of our intelligent conversation and respectful disagreement. So that's episode 5 of On the Rocks. Appreciate y'all rocking out with us. See you next time. Wow.
Peace.
Yay.